I'm Doug Brown. Just hours after the Angels announced they're not trading Shohei Ohtani, the right-hander throws a masterpiece against the Tigers in Detroit.
And the 3-1 pitch. And this is lifted high in the air. It's hit well into center field, but making the running catch about 7 or 8 feet from the rim of the track is the center fielder, Mickey Moniak. And Shohei Ohtani has done it today in Detroit. His first major league shutout.
Terry Smith on Angels Radio AM 830. It's a one-hitter for Ohtani. 6-0 Angels in the first of a doubleheader. Taylor Ward hits 2 home runs and drives in 3. Ohtani will DH in Game 2. The first-place Brewers make a trade with the Pirates today to get first baseman Carlos Santana. Pittsburgh gets a minor leaguer in return. Dolphins corner Jalen Ramsey left the practice field today after a collision with wideout Tyreek Hill. Ramsey was taken to the locker room on a cart after athletic trainers worked on his left knee. No word yet on his status.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Fired up to be on the road today. We are in the 337, the ESPN 1037 Lafayette, ESPN 1041 Lake Charles launch party going down tonight right here. We're inviting y'all to come on out. If you're in Lafayette, the greater Acadiana area, come hang out for the show today and all the way until 8 o'clock. Our great partners here at Delta Media opening up the doors. And we're fired up to be here. We'll tell you much more as we move throughout the show. Man, we got a lot to do today. Maddy Hudak in 15 minutes. She was at Saints camp today. Sean Payton is making waves all the way throughout. Sean Payton's throwing haymakers at the Jets. He ain't even coached a game yet. We'll talk to Larry Holder next hour. And a former Tiger pitcher, current Tiger pitcher Javen Coleman will be with us as well in hour 3. He made the decision not to sign with the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'll get to Javen Coleman in hour number 3. Right now, let's kick it off like we always do. Hit it, Muse.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right, so I want to start today kind of where we were finishing yesterday. If you were here yesterday at the end of the show in hour number 3, LSU quarterback commit Colin Hurley was with us. Gigantic recruiting weekend for all of college football. This is the last weekend before a dead period in recruiting, and so every school and everywhere is having a gigantic recruiting event this weekend. For LSU, it's the big Bayou Splash, kind of like a pool party. And some of the top uncommitted prospects around the country are going to be in Baton Rouge. So I wanted to have Colin Hurley on. Well, while Colin Hurley was on the show with us, Cai Bates committed to the Tigers. So I want to run through a little bit about Cai Bates and actually sort of take inventory of DBU right now. First of all, Cai Bates. He's out of Orlando, 6'1", 180. What you really need to know about this dude is he picked LSU over Alabama, Florida State, Tennessee, Auburn. Basically, everybody wanted this kid's commitment. LSU got it. That's huge. More so than just the commitment. And look, I can break down the class for you. LSU is now has 20 commits for the 2024 class. Cai Bates is the 4th cornerback commit. On3 has him as the number 92 overall prospect in the country. So this is a big-time player, right? Big-time player, one of the top 10 cornerbacks in the country, top 100 overall player in the country. You went to the state of Florida, and you got his commitment, and you got it over a lot of big-time SEC schools. All of that is really significant for those very obvious reasons. But here's why I think even more so this was so important. LSU for so long had this reputation as DBU, right? And I'm not here to get in an argument about who the real DBU is. Like, go have that argument somewhere. I really don't care if it's LSU or Bama, Florida, Ohio State. Like, what you know on principle is they've had really good players at that position for a really long time, okay? And the margin is thin. But at the end of the Ed Ogeron era in Baton Rouge, it got bad. Like, when you actually look and chart out the numbers, it's really an illustration of why this class for LSU is so important in the secondary. Here's what I mean. In 2020, LSU signed 2 cornerbacks. Elias Ricks, who's the number 1 corner in the country, and Dwight McGlothern, who was a freak show, looked like a pterodactyl. Like one of the guys that you typically see come through that program and play defensive back. 2. Y'all know where Eli Ricks and Dwight McGlothern are today? Well, Ricks went to Bama for a year, didn't play, went to the draft, went undrafted. McGlothern is at Arkansas now for his second season in Fayetteville. So you signed two cornerbacks in 2020, both of them left. In 2021, you signed 1. So had 1 cornerback, Demarius McGee. He gone too. He was here for 1 season. He's gone. Last year, so my point is, 2 years, 2020, 2021, you get what amounts to 0 cornerbacks. 0. You want to know why LSU last year in the offseason had to go sign Sevyn Banks, Jark Bernard Converse, Mekhi Gardner, Colby Richardson? Like, you want to know why? That's why. Because you basically went 2 recruiting classes with no cornerbacks. So they had to go hit the portal a year ago with a lot of guys that were 1-year dudes. Every guy I just mentioned to you is gone. Banks, Jark Bernard Converse, Gardner, Richardson, 1 year, gone, all of them. So you're left exactly where you were, except for the 3 guys you signed last year, Jordan Allen, LaTerrence Welsh, and Jalen Davis-Robinson. So, and Allen might actually end up playing safety. So you had to go in this class and do it again. Get a whole bunch of high school kids and a bunch of transfers. And they did. They got Deuce Chestnut and Denver Harris and J.K. Johnson and Zy Alexander, and they signed Ashton Stamps, Jeremiah Hughes, and Ryan Robinson. So they had to load up numbers. So when you look ahead now, you look to 2024, you've got 4 high school cornerbacks committed now. Cai Bates, who's a top 100 player we just mentioned, Jawan Johnson, Andre Evans, and Wallace Foster. So that's 4 for this class. You signed 3 in 23, 3 in 22, and now, like, you can look ahead and say that and Chestnut, Harris, Johnson, Alexander, the transfers, Chestnut and Alexander, both juniors, draft eligible, could be gone. Maybe they're back, but let's assume they both leave. Fine, this is what you're looking at for next year. LaTerrence Welch, J.K. Johnson, Denver Harris, 3 juniors. Stamps, Hughes, Robinson, all sophomores or redshirt freshmen, second-year players. You've got 4 freshmen committed, and then you could potentially add transfers. So I'm not good at math. I'm really bad at math. But that's 10 for sure that'll be back, plus the 2 seniors that could come back, which makes 12, and that's before you consider any transfers. Now, you'll probably have attrition, but my point is, now you're actually dealing with a loaded deck. Like, you have a full room. You have enough cornerbacks to say, if somebody gets turf toe, you're not moving a safety to corner out of necessity. You've got numbers again. When you look back at how it ended, and this is not meant to be a shot, this isn't revisionist history, it's just what it is. The last 2 years that Ed Ogeron was here, he signed 3 cornerbacks. 3. Ricks, McGlothern, Demarius McGee. They're all gone. They all transferred. So it was essentially like you had 0 corners in a 2-year cycle. So Brian Kelly came in and had to remake that room with transfers, which he's done for 2 years now. And that basically was like, plugging the leak, right? It's like put your finger in the dam. That stopped the leak while he was able to sort of rebuild. I mean, think about it. It's like if your house is like if the bathtub is overflowing. You ever done that before? Like, you guys, y'all married, you know your wife's done this before. She turned the water on, left the room, and then it overflows because she forgot about it. Raise your hand. You know you did, Bo. You know you did. My wife's done it too. She left the sink in our laundry room running all night a couple months back. I woke up, honest to goodness, she's going to be so mad I'm saying this right now. But I woke up, and I walked into the kitchen. I heard, shh. I'm like, what is it? walked to the laundry room, sink was running. She had plugged the sink, and it was running all night long. Whole laundry room flooded. Thank God there was a lip and a drain in there so the whole house wouldn't flood, but like 9 hours of the sink running. Anyway, my point is, the first thing you do before you start cleaning up is you got to stop the water from running. Stop further damage. So that's what Brian Kelly did. He had to go get transfers. He did. He basically stopped it from flooding, and then you can go start the cleanup, which is what he's done now for 3 consecutive classes with obviously the 22 class with Allen Welch and Jalen Davis-Robinson. Last year, his first full cycle with Stamps, Hughes, and Robinson, and now he's building an even bigger, better class behind all them with 4 committed now, and Cai Bates is the latest. So, I don't normally lead the show with recruiting. I'm not the biggest recruiting guy in the world. You listen or you watch for long enough, you know that. But at its most basic level, like, that's how programs are built, and it matters. And if you look at this LSU team with all of the hype surrounding it, if there's a spot on the team where you go, man, I don't know how that's going to go, it's probably the defensive backfield for the reasons we mentioned. Well, he's fixing that, and Cai Bates was a big part of it. So, all right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. We're going to knock out our first break. Thursday show is brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. When we come back, we're headed to NOLA. Our good friend Maddy Hudak is going to jump aboard with us. Does a great job scouting all the analysis that she does around Saints camp. So Maddy was there at the Saints facility this morning for camp day 2. We'll get a full camp report for you when we come back. We're glad to have you aboard with us here on a Thursday edition of AFR from the ESPN 103.7 launch party in Lafayette downtown. Y'all come see us. Maddy Hudak is next.
AFR.
Get Gordon. Get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Love telling you about our friends over at Gordon McKernan every single day. Just great community partners. Of course, if you've been injured, you've been in an accident, it's not your fault. You need representation. Do what injured people in our state have done for more than 30 years. Get Gordon and get it done. Call 888-8888. Doesn't matter the area code, statewide. 888-8888. Or go to getgordon.com. Love telling you all the time about how not only does Gordon help injured people in the state, but really, as Gordon said, he's been so blessed throughout his life, personally, professionally. He wants to use his success to give back. So he's done that through Gordon Gives. It's the charitable arm of the law firm. It's how they're able to give away laptops during school, bikes to underprivileged children around Christmas. Well, it's also giving away vacations. Go to GordonGives.com, and you can learn how you can win one of 7 free vacations, courtesy of Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Go to GetGordon.com. GetGordon.com. Get Gordon. Get it done.
Get 3.99% financing on select 2023 models at Corval Toyota in Opelousas. And we also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
taco more than just a taco when it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
All right, let's say ah.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
There's a developing story out of Cincinnati. Joe Burrow carted off at Bengals practice. You hear cart and you immediately think the absolute worst. The video of the play is on Twitter. You can find it. I think this is Mike Petraglia at Trags, Trags on Twitter has the video. And Burrow was rolling right. And I'm not a doctor, not trying to diagnose it. He was not touched and he didn't go down. He came up and wouldn't put his foot down. You hate to speculate. I'm not going to. It is his right leg, but I'm not going to say any more other than we'll watch. It looked harmless enough, but you never know. So we'll see and hope for the best there. All right. It's after further review. It's one of the reasons why when people always say, hey, what's your biggest camp storyline? For me, it's always one. Stay healthy. Stay healthy. Don't get injured. It's literally always the thing that I will say first in these conversations. Our friend Maddy Hudak, so good to be with us last year, all throughout camp and during the Saints season. Good enough to join us again now. Maddy, we appreciate it. How are you?
I'm good. I'm currently walking around the block to escape all of the construction that is following me down the street. So, other than that, great.
We appreciate your commitment to the sound quality of the segment. Hey, you heard me mention in the open there about injuries. Let me start with Trevor Penning, who, of course, only played 6 games in his rookie year. And I understand a foot injury. I'll just leave it open. What can you tell us about Penning? What's going on there?
We're kind of back to getting the same injury treatment of not really getting that much information. From what I was able to surmise, apparently he was unrelated to whatever happened before, but not really given any more details other than it's not serious. So, again, just kind of Saints injury speak that doesn't really say much.
Right. How important, I mean, this is a pretty broad, pretty obvious one as well, but, how important is this camp, not this season, but this camp for Trevor Penning and for the Saints with relation to their former first-round pick?
Oh, I just think the offensive line itself is important when you think about the fact that they finally got a quarterback that they think should be kind of commanding that room, that Michael Thomas is coming back, that they're getting a lot of production out of this offense, but all of that is going to come down to whether or not the offensive line can block or not. The amount that we've already seen them really switch guys around during camp as is, even during OTAs, Andres Pete and James Hurst switched a couple times. And I know that was Andres Pete's natural position in college, but he never really played at tackle under Sean Payton at all. And, just one of those injury-prone guys. But then you saw Calvin Throckmorton switching around to left guard and right guard. I saw Louis Kidd and Landon Young at some point switching around. So that's what happens when you spend first-round capital on a trench player that doesn't work out, especially when that was already kind of a point of weakness for the Saints. And you saw the depth issues last year. They brought in Nick Saldiveri, but he got hurt this offseason. He was taking reps with the third-team offense today, which was no good sign considering he wasn't participating in OTAs at all. But it's concerning enough, and makes you really appreciate and miss Taron Armstead.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can I just follow? Did you say Nick Saldiveri was participating today?
I believe that I saw him at one point.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. No, that's fantastic news because I thought the word was he was going to start on PUP, but that's fantastic news. If
again, I think it was like third-team drills or something where it wasn't that noteworthy, but noteworthy enough that everyone was a full participant, including Michael Thomas.
Absolutely. Maddy Hudak is with us. Let me ask you about Derek Carr. I don't know that it's going to be possible to do a camp report without at least asking about the Saints quarterback. I get it. It's 2 practices, but you also got to see OTAs and you got to see minicamp. Can you notice, Maddy, have you noticed any or is there any noticeable progression from when he first got here and was going through off-season workouts to now?
To me, it seems almost the same in the sense that I was really impressed by the level of consistency and familiarity he seemed to already have at OTAs. And I think what you're seeing right now is just the fact that all of the defensive starters are kind of back. And it's a lot different when you're throwing to Mike Thomas when Marshawn Lattimore is guarding him than, kind of some of the stuff that you see in OTAs. So I think he was 4 of 5 overall in team drills today, 2 of 4 and 7 on 7s, but one of those was arguably a drop from Jimmy Graham. But it just seems like all the position groups have gotten better on offense and not so much by them adding on a bunch of personnel. I think Olave was, a hell of a pick to say the least, and just really is so complimented by Michael Thomas coming back. Just the emphasis on the tight end room. You just think about Jameis Winston was not that I can remember having a connection with tight ends, but then you think of Jimmy Graham going over to Seattle and Russell Wilson. Tight end's not the first thing that comes to mind with him either. He had Darren Waller in Oakland and then Las Vegas for all of those years. And it's something that, I think he likes to kind of have as that option. And so bringing guys in to bolster that room and just watching the quarterback room throw with more confidence in general, throws by Haener and Winston too, that it's kind of the thing that you'd rather them try out the first couple of days of camp in those kind of tighter windows. But the fact that they're all really willing to take those shots this early on, the offense just has a completely different feel than the last 2 seasons.
Hey, you did bring up Jimmy Graham. Any noticeable observations from Jimmy the first 2 days?
Well, it was weird because, I grew up a Saints fan and watching Jimmy Graham like in the candy store, and I was just kind of like staring at him like this mirage in front of me because he doesn't look exactly, like Jimmy Graham right now. You forget that he was, hit by a car when he was on his bike earlier this year. And accidentally read like way too graphic of details on what happened to his calf there, but that kind of puts context in, him losing what looks like quite a bit of weight. That being said, he's 6'7", just kind of speaks for itself. And what stuck out to me is he has a very high cut. His legs, he just runs like a gazelle, and his jogging is like most guys sprinting. And really, all he has to do is kind of that Jeremy Shockey turn around and sit down with the ball. There's only going to be so many defenders that can contest a guy with the wingspan and reach that Jimmy Graham has. And so just to see him already working out there with the ones, it is kind of, again, a weird feeling, but it allows them, I think, to be a little more creative with Taysom Hill's usage as well. It's something I want to pay a little more attention to as the days go on, but, they don't really have to have him to plug any type of hole in that tight end room anymore. And if nothing else, Jimmy Graham brings a lot of veteran experience to that room that it's really lacking. It's Juwan Johnson, who is a converted wide receiver. Foster Moreau is still on the younger side, and then Taysom Hill is not really a tight end. So I think that his brain could help a lot as well.
Maddy, I know so much of what we talk about is obviously like your film study and your scouting work, but like just from a roster makeup standpoint, is there room for if Taysom Hill is a tight end, right, and we're assuming Johnson and Moreau are going to make the team, is there room for a 4th tight end?
It's a good question, but it's one where you don't think they bring back Jimmy Graham with all this to not have him make the roster. I just think that they're not going to end up carrying Taysom Hill as a tight end. And then I don't really see an issue with them carrying 3 on the roster, just because, again, you look at the wide receiver room as well, and Rashid Shaheed looks strong. They're strong options, but it's not the same thing as last year where I think you saw that kind of 3-headed monster, or at least what was intended in camp, of Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, and Chris Olave, and that really suited more of Winston's skill set with kind of those more deep vertical receivers. But I think we are going to kind of see an offense that just is a little more similar to what Drew Brees ran with Pete Carmichael, and I think Jimmy Graham fit that piece, and tight ends fit that piece a lot. Not to mention that they bring them in on blocking sets quite a bit, and that's something what I would have to go kind of look at the film of Jimmy Graham, which I wasn't really expecting to have to do ever at this point to see if he's a good blocker or not, just because he's kind of gone off my radar. But if he can add that as an element, then I think he absolutely makes the roster, because there's probably going to be, they brought in a couple of offensive linemen to bring in on run sets in the past, but having to rely on bringing in an extra lineman is just kind of a problem when your depth there is already thin. So hopefully that's something he can bring to the table.
A couple more here for you, Maddy. Let's switch to the defensive side of the ball. I know there's a lot of talk about Payton Turner in a big sort of opportunity this year as a former first-round pick. How is that rotation looking so far at the right end spot opposite Cam Jordan?
It was Payton Turner's spot today, at least going with the ones. For me, I kind of spent the first couple of days of training camp just seeing if I can see any noticeable body type changes in these guys. And Payton Turner looked like he'd actually put on some size in his lower body, which I think that he could just kind of use at this point, because he's seen so little playing time that he can add some explosiveness from his lower body. But they're actually pressuring the quarterback quite a bit. Carl Granderson had really good interior pressure, sacked Winston during the team drills. And then I think that Turner had at least 2 pressures that I was able to record, and potentially a little more. It's kind of a question of, was it the chicken or the egg thing? Because you're looking at the amount of switches on the offensive line that they're trying out. It's hard not to wonder if, that's why they're getting absolutely free. But I think that confidence is really going to be an important thing for Payton Turner. Just the fact that Jeff Ireland kind of called him out at the Senior Bowl, saying that he hadn't really lived up to what the draft capital was at this point, and that position was open. If he's able to just get some mental confidence in training camp, even though it's not the real thing, that could be something that really gets them through this, because Cam Jordan is at this point kind of outlived reality on what he should be able to be putting out there on the field at the amount of time that he's playing. So if Carl Granderson and Payton Turner both have a strong showing in camp, they might finally be able to rotate someone on the edge, which is also something that they might be doing with Zach Bond in the linebacker room, I begrudgingly say. But I kind of rather see Zach Bond there than in coverage.
Okay, so that is actually a beautiful transition. I was going to ask about Bond and, honestly, the linebacker group where Maddy, absolutely, look, there's 2 certainties, right? I mean, Demario Davis, and if he's healthy, Pete Werner. After that, I think that room is a gigantic question mark. You mentioned Bond. What do we make of how the linebackers look as of right now?
Well, it's interesting because we're so used to seeing the Saints in nickel being really kind of their primarily base defense, and they were running all 3 linebacker sets today. So, as someone that's trying to solve who's playing nickel, that was, not really that helpful, but I think it's more that they're just trying out Alante Taylor and Paulson Adebo at that cornerback slot, which meant that they brought on an extra linebacker, and every time in first-team reps, that was Zach Bond. But the vision, at least, that was purported when he was drafted, was that, they were going to kind of use him how he was used in, I believe, Wisconsin. It's been so long at this point, which is really off the edge as a pass rusher. And then I don't know if it just, they talk about a year 1 and a year 3 evaluation for guys, and this is technically, I think, year 4 for Zach Bond. But at least if you're looking at him from a developmental perspective, that does check out. But that's really the vision that I think that was intended with him. He just never found his way there. And again, if that's something similar to like Jimmy Graham on the offense, where, he's not going to save the day, but if he can assist in the blocking game, that helps the whole offense out. Same thing with Zach Bond. If he can generate any type of pressure and come in as an option, that's something they lost with C.J. Garner-Johnson and Quan Alexander. And then really the linebacker that went to the Falcons, that was Caden Ellis. Caden Ellis was a great pass rusher for them. And so they lost all of those kind of rotational guys, but all of those guys shared that same skill set, and they haven't been able to find it on the defensive line. So he sacked and shed a few blocks well today. I think he was going up against Jimmy Graham, but if he could just occupy a tight end on the line, that would still be some production and help them control the run game, which had a lot of holes last year.
Last thing for you, Maddy, and Maddy Hudak's our guest. You can follow her on Twitter at Maddy Hudak _94. By the way, are you still saying Twitter, or are you saying X?
It's switched on my computer, and my brain has no idea what X is, so it's Twitter.
It's so weird. Like, I have all my windows open at the top of my screen here, and like
I keep skipping by it.
I know. I'm like, what is that? Oh, that's Twitter. No, it's a black X. What is that thing? No. Last thing, I look at, if I ask both sides of the ball, I think receiver depth, cornerback depth, easily the 2 deepest spots on either side of the ball.
Is that reflecting so far in camp?
Yeah, there's the competition level. When you're able to see Lattimore against Michael Thomas, that's a marquee matchup in the NFL on Sunday. So to be able to, have Derek Carr be able to try to get throws off to a receiver of the caliber like Michael Thomas against someone like Marshawn Lattimore, but then you also have Alontae Taylor, who was in phase with Chris Olave. He broke up a pass on him today. Rashid Shaheed did make a catch on him, but he's really good at mirroring and staying in phase. And we're talking about a guy that is, competing for a CB2 at this point opposite someone else. So to have that even as a question mark, that's the best kind of battle to me that you can have is too many guys at cornerback. But yeah, on both sides of the ball, the skill positions are really shoring up in the trenches. Unfortunately, you're still a giant question mark.
Yeah. We'll continue to follow. Just stay tuned. We'll get to know much more, obviously, whenever they put on the pads. Maddy Hudak, Saints Camp Report. We appreciate it, Maddy. Thanks as always. Great stuff.
Thanks. See you guys tomorrow.
Okay, be well. It's after further review. We're here in downtown Lafayette, fired up for it, the ESPN 103.7 launch party. We're here now. We'll be here until 8 o'clock. Come meet the whole staff, our friends here at Delta Media, our great partners. We're just thrilled to have AFR on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette, ESPN 104.1 Lake Charles. So come meet the staff. If you're in Lafayette, come hang out. Food, beverages, family friendly, bring the kiddos. We'll be here until 8 o'clock. So you want to come out, hang out, watch AFR, meet everybody. It's a good time. We got sound pipe through here. So if you want to come see and hang out, watch the show a little bit, we'd be thrilled to meet everybody. So come hang out with us here. We're at 520 Jefferson in downtown Lafayette. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back and we'll go a little around the SEC. Stick around here with us. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery with 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, and sports on TV. It's anniversary week over at Pluckers, celebrating 28 years. Founded in Austin, of course, my guy Stevie Levy, the king of the wing, brought Pluckers to Baton Rouge and to Louisiana. DeRitter's own Stevie Levy, my guy, the king of the wing, a former McNeese State Cowboy. Anyway, today, Thursday, all this week for anniversary week, they got great specials. And all day today, $5 Buffalo Bites appetizer. So you get them by Pluckers. You can enjoy great specials, award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer. If you can't make it in, remember, obviously, delivery, Uber Eats, or DoorDash, or just punch up the app, and you get your wings to fly over at Pluckers. With 2 locations, of course, in the Baton Rouge area, Bluebonnet, and right in front of the Mall, Louisiana, and on Nicholson, just south of LSU's campus. Award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. It's Pluckers, if you like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,500 off MSRP on all new 23 Ram 1500 Laramie trucks in stock. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
This summer, retirement is a state of mind. Whether it's a mid-morning activity or an early bird special. Grab a Coors Light and chill like you're retired.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Bayou Ford has $8,000 off MSRP, plus 1.9% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks, along with Bayou Ford's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
All right, rolling along. Glad to have you aboard with us here. Normally, this is the spot where we do around the SEC, but quite honestly, I think what's more pertinent is for me to talk a little bit about what's going on in the Big 12 with Colorado. So I'm going to get to that in just a second. This is so interesting. This just popped up on my Twitter as well. I completely had no idea that Eric Gilbert was at Nebraska. We know Gilbert's story, of course. He was the number 1 tight end in the country, if I remember correctly, the highest rated, not ranked, rated prospect ever to sign with LSU when he signed with LSU out of Georgia back in 2020, the state of Georgia in 2020. Was here for a season, ended up opting out during the COVID year, late in the COVID year. Last year was at Georgia, but that was certainly up and down, sort of a tumultuous year. Well, now Gilbert is at Nebraska and is apparently trying to get an eligibility waiver to play year 1 there under Matt Rule. So we all know that Eric Gilbert is just a phenomenal physical talent, but clearly that's a young guy who has dealt with dealt with mental illness, and for a long time I think people hinted around that, but I know I was one that was never ever going to say it till stuff became public, which ultimately it did. But anyone that has ever known anyone that's ever dealt with mental illness, it is hard, if not impossible. And I really wish well for that young guy. I mean, young guy with all the physical ability in the world, but has something that he's battling and has battled and continues to battle, and hopefully it doesn't cost him what would be otherwise a phenomenal opportunity in football. So Eric Gilbert's there at Nebraska now, waiting on an eligibility waiver to be able to play year 1 there under Matt Rule in what is now his 4th collegiate season. Okay, it's after further review. One other thing that let me not delay this any longer. In the last segment we were talking about, as we came out of break, you probably saw, if you're listening and you missed this, there's video on Twitter, everywhere on the internet now. Joe Burrow was at Bengals practice today and came up limp. It was a non-contact deal. He was carted to the locker room. He was rolling right, and he just sort of started hopping. It was his right foot. He wouldn't put any weight on the leg. There's video that you can find. Apparently, after practice, Zach Taylor, when he met with the media, said it was a calf injury. And this is from Charlie Goldsmith on Twitter. Zach Taylor, I'll read it directly. Zach Taylor saying Joe Burrow's injury was his calf, using the word soreness, is about as good as the news gets after the quarterback was carted off the field. So I think we all know earlier this week we saw Justin Herbert get a record-setting contract, and it's very obvious the reason Joe Burrow hasn't gotten his record-setting contract is because he was waiting for all the other quarterbacks to sign their deal so then he could reset the market. So you saw Lamar Jackson get his deal. Josh Allen had already gotten his. Now Justin Herbert has gotten his deal, and Joe Burrow will be next. So he will reset the market whenever the time comes. But a serious injury might call that into question, but it appears as though it's again, Zach Taylor's with calf, soreness. I'm glad it doesn't seem serious. I'll remind you, look, a year ago, remember, before camp is when Burrow had the emergency, wasn't it an appendectomy? That he had like an emergency appendectomy before camp. And so when his teammates were running their sprints, he was doing them in a cart with them, if you remember. So I guess the point being, Joe Burrow doesn't really need camp. As our friend Mike Detillier would say so often, camp is for the unskilled, is what he would say. But as long as Joe Burrow's healthy and you're ready to go for the start of the season, that's about all you can ask for. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. That's southpointvw.com. And actually not far from us here on Johnston Street in Lafayette, Southwest Volkswagen. So Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, South Point Volkswagen, all the style, the feel, the performance of luxury without the cost. 9 different IIHS top safety picks. It is South Point Volkswagen. You can shop online today at southpointvw.com, work out your financing, and then just go pick it up. It's all there at South Point Volkswagen. southpointvw.com, South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? I have a little bit of time here to start on this, and I'm going to circle back to it a bit later in the show. But so you probably saw this. The Big 12 voted unanimously to accept Colorado as a member. And this is one of 2 really important and honestly necessary steps for realignment to happen. The first is the accepting conference has to vote to allow the conference member to come in, and then that school has to formally apply for membership. So as I understand it, an application process is as simple as a very short email. It's just something formal in writing saying, hey, we want to join y'all. Well, the Big 12 has already said, hey, man, our arms are open. Whenever you're ready, Colorado, come on back. And it's odd because Colorado was a part of the Big 12 from its inception back in 1996 through 2010 when they left for the Pac-12. And now they're apparently heading back to the Big 12. I know we've said this a couple times, and hat tip to Brett Yormark, who is the commissioner of the Big 12, and they have just had to assume a very defensive stance because that is a league that 10, 12 years ago, when the first gigantic seismic realignment happened, when A&M and Missouri joined the SEC, when Nebraska went to the Big 10, Colorado went to the Pac-12. If you remember, Texas and Oklahoma at that time had an invitation to join the Pac-12, then the Pac-10, but decided to stay put in the Big 12. Well, now, obviously, Texas and Oklahoma are joining the SEC, but as a result of having always been in the crosshairs, it's forced the Big 12 to be on the offensive, not to allow terms to be dictated to them. So in this instance, they saw USC and UCLA leaving the Pac-12, and that destabilized the Pac-12, and so the Big 12 said, look, either our guys are going to go there or their guys are going to come here. And Brett Yormark and the Big 12, having been down that road before, went on the offensive, and it's pretty clear. I mean, the report is that the Big 12 in Colorado started these in-person conversations in May. So it's not new, and I think the inevitability here is the Pac-12 is going to cease to exist as a Power 5 school or a Power 5 league. I don't know what their options would be to maintain Power 5 status, because maybe the most important part of the reason why Colorado is moving now is because the Pac-12 does not have another TV rights deal. So follow me. Remember, one of the biggest hang-ups of realignment and teams leaving and going for a different league, and when they go, is your exit fee. Because when you sign a media rights deal, you offer up your grant and rights, meaning all of your media rights go to the conference. The conference can go negotiate with TV partners on your behalf. And so you give away your grant and rights. So if you leave, there's massive exit fees. So in this instance, the Pac-12, their media deal is expiring. They don't have another media deal. So when Colorado leaves, they ain't got no exit fee. They're gone. So if you're Oregon, Washington, and you're thinking about the Big 10, if you're Arizona State, Utah, and you've been thinking about the Big 12, now's the time to go. before you have a new media rights deal in place with the Pac-12. If you have an offer to go join another league, you do it now. This is Colorado's going to be their last season in the Big 12. They'll play out this year. The media rights will expire, and then next year they're in the Big 12. So look at this guy. Hey, man, there's a camera right there, by the way. They probably caught that. Jordy Hallberg just walked in. Made a very unflattering gesture to me. You're a great guy, though. I've known Jordy a long time. Anyway, point being, this is obviously going to happen. Colorado's going back to the Big 12, and they're not going to be the last team to leave the Pac-12 for the Big 12 or the Pac-12 for the Big 10. And the only question remains, does Pac-12 football go the way that the Big East Football Conference did, where it just ceased? They continue to play in other sports, but they cease to exist in football. So what about the Pac-12? Will that league continue to exist? Will they go to the Mountain West or other, maybe G5 leagues to try to pull membership like the Big 12 did, going to get Central Florida and UCF and Houston and BYU? Or does the Pac-12 fold? It's going to be fascinating to watch as this develops. Got much more on this as we move throughout the afternoon. We'll keep our eye on it. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. It's a Thursday edition of AFR presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com, theantiagingclinics.com. We will knock out a quick break, come back, wrap up hour number one. Sean Payton throwing haymakers at the Jets already, man. We'll talk a little Sean Payton when we come back. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. That's us, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Tell you all the time. Want to say do business with someone you know? It's me. You can email me directly, Matt@HudcoRoofing.com. Had a coworker come to me yesterday and said, hey, I got some neighbors in the neighborhood. They kind of have roof issues. They want somebody, can I give them your number? Yeah, Matt@HudcoRoofing.com. I'm proud to help and facilitate however I can. Do business with someone you know. Look, when hail comes, when storm season comes, if you have issues with your roof, I always encourage you, go with a company that has been in your market, that has been in the state for years and will be for years to come. Because what's going to happen in 6 months or 6 years if you have an issue? Who are you going to call? Is that out-of-state company, is that fly-by-night company going to pick up the phone? Or are they going to be in business? Do business with someone you know. That's Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Servicing the entire state of Louisiana. Learn more online at HudcoRoofing.com. That's HudcoRoofing.com.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. The fallout is growing from an investigative unit report about leaked DNA evidence in the Madison Brooks case. 24 hours after WBRZ exposed a lack of DNA evidence, the state NAACP has asked District Attorney Hiller Moore to dismiss the charges against the suspects. The test showed no DNA was found inside of her from the suspects arrested accused of raping her. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Follow us on Twitter @1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch, on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter @1045ESPN.
Rev Business started small in 1935. We built our reputation by providing hometown service with Louisiana hustle. For nearly 90 years, we've expanded across our great state, through the swamps and across the Mississippi, bringing fiber optics from the capital to the North Shore and down the bayou to the coast, all to connect your business with the world. Rev is about big business technology with small business personal service, powerful solutions, unmatched local service. Rev Business.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Well, Sean Payton's out here throwing haymakers already, man. So our buddy Larry Holder is going to be here in 25 minutes. Of course, Larry covered the Saints for years and years and years and years. He's now a national NFL columnist for The Athletic. He still lives in New Orleans. Obviously, he still follows the Saints, but is a national NFL columnist and reporter. So we'll talk some big picture NFL stuff with Larry. But I specifically want to talk to you about this because he knows Sean Payton so well. If you haven't heard yet, so Sean Payton did an interview with USA Today Sports. And the really strange thing about this is he gave this interview to USA Today just minutes, like a one-on-one interview, just minutes after he finished with the Denver media. So they have practice. He does his interview session with the Denver media scrum, and then finishes that, and then goes and does this one-on-one with USA Today. And this is. He was talking about Nathaniel Hackett. Of course, Hackett was the coach in Denver last year, had Russell Wilson. It was a disaster. They won 5 games. Russell Wilson had the worst season of his career, and they fire Hackett, who's now the OC of the Jets. Remember, Hackett was the OC in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, so Jets sign Aaron Rodgers. Hackett's now the OC there in Green Bay. Sean Payton tells USA Today, I'm gonna quote, okay? Quote, everything I heard about last season, we're doing the opposite. It doesn't happen often. I'm quoting Sean Payton. It doesn't happen often where an NFL team or organization gets embarrassed. And that happened here. Part of it was their own fault relative to spending so much bleeping time trying to win the offseason, the PR, the pomp and circumstance, marching people around and all this stuff. We're not doing any of that. The Jets did that this year. Remember, the Jets, who have Nathaniel Hackett as their OC, who was the head coach a year ago. He continues. The Jets did that this year. You watch. Hard Knocks, all of it. I can see it coming. Remember when Dan Snyder put that dream team together? I was at the Giants in 2000. I was a young coach. I thought, how are we going to compete with them? Deion Sanders is there now. That team won 8 games or whatever. So listen, just put in the work. He went on to say that there were, quote, 20 dirty hands around Russell Wilson. Quote, oh, man, there's so much dirt around that. There's 20 dirty hands for what was allowed, tolerated in the frickin' training rooms and meeting rooms. The offense, I don't know Hackett. A lot of people had dirt on their hands. It wasn't just Russell. He didn't just flip. He still has it. The BS that he hit the wall, shoot. They couldn't get a play in. They were 29th in the league in pre-snap penalties on both sides of the ball. That wasn't his fault. That was the parents who allowed it. That's not an incrimination on him, but an incrimination on the head coach, the GM, the president, and everybody else who watched it happen. Now a quarterback having an office and a place to watch film is normal. But all those things get magnified when you're losing. And that other stuff, I've never heard of it. We're not doing that. Sean Payton was asked by, end quote, Sean Payton was asked by Diana Rossini of ESPN if he wanted to clarify anything, and he said, nope, just sticking up for his player. I mean, you can tell Sean Payton, and I'll remind you, when Sean Payton was still in New Orleans, the Saints were one of 3 teams to which Russell Wilson would have accepted a trade. Remember that story? Sean Payton has had longing eyes for Russell Wilson, but he is going to bat for his guy. You want to get sort of a foxhole mentality, that's a way to do it. You go hard publicly in favor of your guy, lining up behind him, and they'll run through walls for you. We'll see if it'll work. Denver should have been far better than they were a year ago, and it's pretty obvious. When you got a guy like Russell Wilson having a career worse year, a career low year, what do you do to counterbalance that? Like, it shouldn't be hard for Denver to improve year to year because it was so bad a season ago. But I have got to get some perspective on Sean Payton because, and the reason I want to have Larry, we'll talk about it in a bit, is when you sit there and you listen to and you talk to a coach every single day and you listen to every press conference and then you talk to him in private, you know sometimes when a coach is talking through the media and what they're trying to say or do or convey. So I'm excited. We'll have Larry coming up in 20 minutes from right now to sort of dissect what Sean Payton said. And we'll also talk some other big stories. Joe Burrow's injury, if you're just joining us and missed it, Joe Burrow was carted off of the field today in Cincinnati, but it seems like it's just a calf. We'll keep you posted as we know more. Okay, hour number 2 is coming up right after SportsCenter.
AFR.
Put a button here on hour number 1. Love telling you about Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com. What you got to know about Mold Zero is more than anything, I tell you all the time about the patented non-toxic dry fog treatment, all that stuff. You got to know the people. Jim Woodworth's a great guy. He's a veteran, Air Force, been all over the country and the world, started in disaster recovery, was there in New York post 9/11, helping that recovery, found his way to the South after the BP oil spill to help with that recovery. That's the guy who owns Mold Zero. So if you need remediation, if you have mold, if you have other harmful pathogens, if you have odors, Mold Zero can help, and they can do it in a more efficient, effective, and cost-effective way. Mold Zero. Look them up online at mold-0usa.com. It's mold-0usa.com to get all the info about Mold Zero USA. Mold-0usa.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Shohei Ohtani throws his first career complete game, and it's a one-hit shutout, beating the Tigers today 6-0. He struck out 8 through 111 pitches. Ohtani is the DH for the second game of that doubleheader in Detroit. He hit his major league leading 37th home run. The Angels lead 5-0 in the third. Bengals coach Zach Taylor says quarterback Joe Burrow left the practice field today with a right calf injury. Burrow was carted off after the non-contact injury. ESPN's Ben Baby reports it appears to be a calf strain. All 32 NFL camps are now open. The Buccaneers trying to replace Tom Brady at quarterback. Baker Mayfield is part of that competition.
I've been off social for almost 2 years now, so I'm wired different. I don't need anybody on the outside to tell me what I can and can't do. I know what I'm capable of. Yeah, I mean, I got hurt in Cleveland. That's why my run ended there. And then last year it was, it was what it was in Carolina. But everything happens for a reason, so I'm here now, and I'm ready to go.
Baker Mayfield.
How would you love a chance to save some money on car insurance? Geico can help. Switch today and see all the ways you could save with great rates and discounts. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com to get a rate quote and get started seeing how much you could save.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. We are live today in downtown Lafayette. We're at 520 Jefferson, and inviting you to come hang out with us. Our affiliate here in Lafayette, Delta Media, ESPN 103.7 in Lafayette, and ESPN 104.1 Lake Charles. Big launch party. The whole staff is here. Y'all come on by. If you're in the 337, come hang out with us. We're excited. We'll be here until 8 o'clock tonight. So come hang out, watch AFR. The bar is open, so if you want to come have an adult beverage, you can. If you want to have some food, they got plenty of it. And we'll look forward to meeting all y'all. Y'all come hang out here all the way until 8 o'clock tonight. Larry Holder is going to be with us in about 13 minutes from right now. If you're just joining us, you heard it there in SportsCenter a minute ago. Joe Burrow went down at Bengals practice today. The good news is it appears to be, according to Zach Taylor, the head coach, a calf. It may be nothing serious. Seems like it isn't anything serious. We're all going to knock on wood and hold our breath and do all that stuff. And here's hoping that Joe Burrow's A-okay and good to go. But we'll keep our eye there. Saints camp earlier today. As the Saints were on the practice field for the second consecutive day, still just in helmets, jerseys, and shorts. So nothing. I don't know if there's too much to get into. Dennis Allen, after practice today, did give an update, sort of a brief injury update. Not a ton to highlight, but here was Dennis Allen after practice.
I thought another good practice. You know, we had a few guys that didn't finish practice today. Colin Saunders with an illness. Shaq Davis and Keith Kirkwood, just a little heat related. Trevor Penning missed today with a foot injury. Day-to-day. I expect he'll be out here tomorrow or the next day, but we'll see where he's at tomorrow. But overall, I think still pretty good health. The guys are competing out there. I thought it was a spirited practice today, so I thought it was a step forward from yesterday. Tomorrow will be much the same, a little bit longer practice tomorrow, put on some shells, but we're still not in pads yet, so that's where we're at.
Dennis Allen has kind of said how they're broaching this. They're kind of stair-stepping. Day one was about a 90-minute practice. Today, about an hour 45. They'll keep building toward a full padded practice. What was interesting today is that we did get to hear from Jameis Winston. And look, let's just be honest. It's not very often that the backup quarterback is going to be made available to the media. It's just generally not a story. But when the backup was the starter and was a guy who many thought could be the starter and the eventual franchise, it is relevant when he accepts a role. And Dennis Allen actually talked about this earlier today, about Jameis accepting the fact that he is Derek Carr's backup and what his role is on this team.
Jameis has embraced his role. He's doing everything he can to help Derek out, as well as working his tail off to improve himself. And so I like his mindset as we, went through all of OTAs, minicamp. We start this training camp. I like his mindset and where he's at, and he's continuing to work.
I do want you to hear from Jameis Winston, though, and I want to play number one if we could, Muse. The interesting thing about Jameis, obviously, is he's a guy that when the Saints signed him back in 2020, he came with the perception of, interceptions and crab legs. That was it, right? Guy throws a ton of picks, and he stole crab legs. I mean, that was all the jokes. But the point that I made a lot during those years and during that time was, look, since then, Jameis was undoubtedly an immature young guy. Now, you can't argue to the contrary. He just was. But sometimes getting married, having children, forces you as a man, as a husband, as a father, to mature as a person. And 28-year-old Jameis was a dramatically different person, maturity-wise, than 18, 19, 20-year-old Jameis. And I think you continue to hear that when you hear him talk. Like, here was Jameis talking about, like, what changed in his offseason going into this year, knowing he's a backup as opposed to competing for the starting job.
Yeah, preparation changed in terms of not overtraining, not doing as much as I've done in the past, more corrective things from my body, more intentional things, small thing. Marginalism, that's a big thing that I focused on this offseason, just doing small increments of things and continue to improve.
On top of that, one more from Jameis, who did – can you play number 3, please? He was asked about his decision to stay in New Orleans as a backup.
It wasn't, because I'm grateful for this opportunity to be the quarterback here, and I know I'm not finished here. I love this city. I love our fans. I love y'all guys, on most of the days, But no, it's a privilege to be in the NFL, and anytime you have an opportunity to be a quarterback, especially one of the 32, and I do know that I'm still one of those 32. Just my role here is to help uplift our one so we can get us the Super Bowl, right? And I love that.
Jameis Winston earlier today after Saints practice, and when one of the other topics we discussed after day one, in part, was Derek Carr and his relationship with Chris Olave. And the reason I think that was significant, the point that I made if you were here on Wednesday's show, was the reason I nerd out on things like minicamp and OTAs, while I understand most of you do not. Like, I'm telling you, I readily understand. Most of you do not nerd out on OTAs, minicamp, and all the different off-season work when guys are just on field stretching their legs and whatnot. The reason it can be impactful is because of things like Derek Carr and Chris Olave getting their time together. So now that they're in camp, it's like it's old hat. They've done it before. So we heard Derek Carr essentially say that yesterday. Today, Chris Olave talked about going out to Las Vegas this offseason as well and working with Derek Carr there.
It helped a lot. I mean, just getting out there and throwing some, just one-on or with some of the guys, developing the routes, developing the timing, the wording, just building chemistry going into training camp. I feel like it helped a lot. And getting out there in the heat, trying to go out there and practice. They prepared us for the heat out here. So
chemistry. He used the same word there as well. Them building that chemistry, that continuity. And you need that with a quarterback and a receiver, obviously, and they're starting to build it. So the Saints still a couple of weeks away from the first preseason game. Only one home preseason game. Remember, there's 3 preseason games now. So 1 at home, and there'll be 2 on the road. But Saints will have 1 preseason. The preseason opener will be at home, and then they'll be on the road twice in the preseason as we move toward the start of the regular season. Hard to believe, man, but next Thursday, a week from today, 1 week from today, is the NFL Hall of Fame game. Like, we've got preseason football 1 week from today. It's hard to believe, man, but football season's upon us. I'm fired up for it. I think you can probably tell. All right, it's after further review. A huge boxing card this weekend. Pretty fired up for it, man. Errol Spence in a title fight. Are you kidding me? I'm fired up for this. You want to bet on it, you can at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code Baton Rouge. Remember, use the promo code Baton Rouge, one word put together. Make a $5 bet on that boxing card this weekend. Just one $5 bet, and they'll give you $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's only at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. So if you want to bet on Spence Crawford, you can do it, or giant MMA card this weekend, y'all. I'm pretty fired up, man. Dustin Poirier right here in Lafayette. And he's really been the standard bearer for Louisiana in MMA. Respect to DC, Daniel Cormier, who was that. He's obviously retired now, but Poirier is just, he has been that standard bearer, the flag carrier for the state as far as MMA. And boy, he's got a massive fight this weekend against Justin Gaethje, one of the most heavy-handed fighters that we've seen in MMA. I'll tell you this much. That thing ain't going a distance. So somebody is going to finish that fight. Of course, we're all pulling for Poirier here, but you want to bet on that when you can as well. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Make a $5 bet on the Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford fight. You get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's only at the DraftKings Sportsbook.
21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/MMA terms. Licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537.
Okay, it's after further review. Larry Holder going to join us here in about 5 minutes from right now. Bottom of this hour, I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about LSU season opening opponent because Jordan Travis and Florida State took their turn at ACC Media Days. I want to let you hear some of what they said. Also, Florida State's added a couple of transfers, late transfers, that will be eligible against LSU. So I want to get to that. One other thing really quickly, though. Maybe I'll have some time at the bottom of this hour to get back to this, but Ryan Day at Big Ten Media Days did float the idea of the Michigan-Ohio State game moving off of the final weekend of the regular season. This was Ryan Day at Big Ten Media Days. Hit it, Muse.
I think it's worth a long discussion about where that game should be placed. I think if it was the same way as it was this past year, we'd be playing back-to-back games, and then who knows, maybe even playing again in the playoffs. So I just think that needs to be taken into consideration. Not that we shouldn't move it, but I think it's worth talking about.
It's interesting because he's right. Remember, Big Ten is scrapping divisions. So if you play Ohio State, Michigan in the final weekend and you keep the Big Ten championship game, there's a possibility they could play in back-to-back weeks. And then, yes, they could, in essence, play again in the playoffs. But that happens in the NFL all the time. You see division opponents play. I remember, the first one that comes to mind is 2000. Saints-Rams. Hakeem drops the ball. Saints and Rams played around Christmas. I believe this was the last regular season playing date, and then a week later played in the wild card round, the Hakeem drops the ball game. So, man, it happens. And you can say we don't want college football to be the NFL, and I get that. But my point is the NFL model has worked, and nobody complains about it. It's going to be fine however it works out. But something worth keeping an eye on as schedules continue to just sort of be malleable here as the landscape of college football continues to change. Okay, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. Our buddy Larry Holder of The Athletic is going to join us. Excited about this conversation. We'll talk Joe Burrow. I got to get his thoughts on Sean Payton ripping into Nathaniel Hackett and the Jets, supposedly defending his guy. But we'll talk about it as we continue here. Larry Holder's next on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, two amazing hotel properties in Baton Rouge, the Watermark in downtown Baton Rouge, the Renaissance in Southtown, right there on Bluebonnet. Hey, Best Dress Ball benefiting the American Cancer Society is coming up in just a few weeks. So many people who go to Best Dress Ball choose to stay downtown. Well, if you haven't done so yet, man, make your reservation at the Watermark Hotel. Walking distance to everything downtown, including the River Center. Man, it's a great way if you want to go have some cocktails at the bar. Even if you're not staying downtown, go have dinner at the Gregory. Go at the restaurant there inside of the Watermark. Have a cocktail at the Watermark's lobby bar. If you've never been in there, it is gorgeous. It's the Watermark Hotel in downtown Baton Rouge. Remember, if you're trying to host that event, be it the Watermark or the Renaissance, from a dozen people up to 500 people, our friends can help accommodate you. They're in the business of saying yes. It's the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel in Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,500 off MSRP on all new 23 Ram 1500 Laramie trucks in stock. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection. The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Why is that so good? I don't know. Can mean only one thing, the sultry, dulcet tones of Ace of Base. Uncle Larry's back. Larry Holder joins us. How are you, Larry? I don't hear Larry. Huh? Oh, we got to call him. Yeah. Bo, we got a guest. All right, hold on. Let's call Larry Holder. Sorry. When we're on remote, but here, Bo. Yeah, that's my bad. Come see. I'll give you the number. Well, yeah, I'm not just going to say Larry's number over the radio. Let's call him there, and we'll get him on. That's my bad. I totally screwed that up. When we're in studio, Musso calls. When we're on remote, we have to call from on site, and so Bo's calling Larry right now. But you may want to make sure that he's potted down over there. Yeah, because otherwise he's just going to answer the phone and be here. Yep, got it. Okay. It's after further review. That gives me a great opportunity to remind you that we are on remote today. We're in downtown Lafayette. We're at 520 Jefferson. Our partners here at Delta Media. Of course, ESPN 103.7 Lafayette, ESPN 104.1 Lake Charles. We're thrilled to be a part of their lineup, and this is their station launch party event, so we're fired up to be here and invite anyone. It's totally free, open to the public. They got food. They got open bar, adult beverages for the kids. Y'all come on and join us. AFR, we're on, and then the parties roll until 8 o'clock, so y'all come hang out with us here at 520 Jefferson in downtown Lafayette. Okay, now we have Larry Holder. My apologies. Larry, how are you, man?
I'm doing well, man. Congrats on the new launch in Lafayette. Good deal, man.
Thanks, man. We're excited. Great group and local ownership, awesome people, and we're fired up to be here, man. Hey, so Larry now is with The Athletic. I think most of our audience knows that as a national college football writer and columnist. Spent a lot of years covering the Saints, but you were covering the Saints in the years that Sean Payton was here. I've got to get your opinion on Sean Payton doing this interview with USA Today and absolutely eviscerating former Jets coach Nathaniel Hackett and the New York Jets.
Well, don't forget that he also eviscerated the current Broncos GM and front office who employs him. So,
yes,
I think he feels pretty safe in his own skin right now. I think he's feeling fired up. But look, just knowing Sean Payton as well as I do, this was not all done just on a whim. I mean, there's a plan and a method to his madness, and I think that this was used to fire up the Broncos. And here's the thing: I'm sure these things. Maybe not in these harsh terms, maybe so, but I'm sure these were expressed to the people within the Broncos organization, his feelings on the structure of what was happening before he was there, about what was happening with Russell Wilson and letting his entourage in the building and how poorly coached. I'm sure they all know this, but I'm guessing now they've been introduced to the Sean Payton that it really just goes no holds barred that, I've seen for plenty of years, either talking to him on or off the record. And I could tell you that the guy interviewing him, Jarrett Bell, he's a longtime NFL columnist for USA Today. He has a really good relationship with Sean. Sean trusts him. He's actually done a lot of things over the years, whether it's not NFL topics. So he feels real comfortable with Jarrett. And I'm sure Jarrett just sat there and just put the recorder and Sean, let loose. And Sean just probably went on without taking a breath. But look, all I know is it got to New York and they're ticked off, and it certainly brings some intrigue. But it's not like he's not telling the truth. I mean, everything he's saying to me, I agree with. But boy, you're not going to find too many coaches. You're not going to find Bill Belichick or Mike Tomlin or Andy Reid doing any of this. This is truly Sean Payton, and something that, look, I didn't expect to see all of that said, but I just know that's just classic Sean Payton, just going no holds barred.
And they play this year, Larry. They play in Week 5. Now, the game is in Denver, but, I mean, what do you expect that to be? Do you have any comp for this? You just don't typically see this from NFL coaches.
I don't have a real good comparison of a coach really just doing this over the years. And I hadn't really sat down and thought long about it, but I just don't – this is really a rarity. Maybe outside of just the barbs that were thrown at each other, like, say, Rex Ryan throwing barbs at Belichick and, maybe – well, I'm going to bring up Parcells. He didn't hold his tongue, but and of course Sean is like the number one Bill Parcells disciple. But still, I definitely nothing to this extent, and it's fascinating. And I'm sure Robert Saleh, he's waking up. He's got to deal with the New York media every day, but I'm sure he didn't wake up this morning drinking coffee with Hard Knocks in his face and expecting Sean Payton all the way in Denver. Not the divisional foe, just conference foe, just totally going off on his offensive coordinator, and that the Jets are just going to be a PR dumpster because they don't know what they're doing.
The Broncos won 5 games a year ago. Their projected total in Vegas year one under Payton is 8.5. You going over or under on the Broncos in 2023?
I will go over, but I'm not going far over. I would go. I could see 10 games.
Okay.
I think their offensive line has been revamped. I mean, that's the thing that Sean Payton certainly has a calling card for. And look, you see some of the pieces that are coming back. Like, I think the running game is going to be good. Javonte Williams is going to be back. I think you're going to have an actual number one back, and he missed all last year. Do I think he can fix Russell Wilson? To an extent, sure. I don't. He's not too far gone, but I think to an extent he can. It's not like Denver's defense was bad. I know that the division's tough, but look, I still think you could probably beat the Chargers. You could probably beat the Raiders. If he gets it back together. So Chiefs are still number one, but so I could see 10 wins. So I would go over.
He's on Twitter at Larry Holder, of course, of The Athletic. I want to shift from Sean Payton. I'll come back to some Saints questions, though, but I did want to ask you about Burrow. And honestly, Larry, I had it on my rundown to ask you about Jalen Ramsey, Jalen Ramsey was carted off today with a leg injury in Miami. For those that missed it, Joe Burrow was carted off in Cincinnati today, although it seems like just a calf and seems okay. Ear to ground, as best you can tell. What are you hearing about Burrow right now?
Yeah, we're definitely in the still in the fact finding stage. But yeah, our Bengals reporter Paul Diener was on the ground there, and look, Burrow had a sleeve on that calf going into practice today, and that's the calf that he kind of came up gimpy on. But it is a calf injury. Doesn't appear to be an ACL. Doesn't appear to be an Achilles, which the Achilles would be closer to the calf. I almost feared that when I saw the video. But it sounds like it's just a calf injury, but we're waiting on the severity. But he's had some rough luck in training camps. Just think about it. Look, he's had to deal with 2 years ago coming back from the ACL to make sure he's healthy enough, ready to go. Then last year, he's got to have the appendectomy, and he's got and so he misses time there, and now he's got to deal with the calf. And they're going to certainly be careful. And I'm wondering, because I assume that, so much so where I have pre-written in our system at the Athletic a Joe Burrow contract extension on the heels of Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts getting that. You wonder if that's put on hold for a minute if they don't do it just because of this. So just because we'll probably learn more about the severity with that coming up soon, but still doesn't sound like it's extremely serious. But we don't know. Calves can be tricky. You step the wrong way, you could pull a calf, and if you don't want, you gotta. The only thing that's gonna, if it's just to say a strain, you got to rest it. So you got to take Joe Burrow off his feet. It's not like he needs training camp a ton per se, but still, you don't want him banged up. He's looking to rear back up, be in MVP form, compete for a Super Bowl.
Who does need training camp is your guy Kyle Trash, as he tries to make good on our bet and make you not look like a total fool. Let's remind everybody, Muse, if you would, let's remind everybody of our wager between Larry and me on Kyle Trash.
He might be on a he might be on a roster somewhere. He will not be a starting NFL quarterback.
Ooh, mark it down.
Okay, mark it down. Hey, think about your wager. Think about something. Kyle Trask will not be a starting NFL quarterback. You can mark it down right now. I'm happy to go round and round on that, whatever. If you tell me what you want to wager, if I'm wrong, I'll eat it. Everything I say is recorded. It's not like I can hide from any prediction. There's still people bringing up me picking Notre Dame to beat Alabama in the 2012 championship game. Yeah, I said it. I was wrong. I took a shot. What the hell? I was wrong. Okay?
Let's go like a mid-range bourbon.
Fair. What's mid-range for you?
Like $50.
$50, done. $50 bourbon, done.
But how long does this bet last? Like 10 years?
Look, what?
All right. I don't know where it went from there, but I think this is it. Like this is your final opportunity here. Brady's gone. It's trash against Mayfield. If he can't beat out Mayfield, you lose. So how you feeling?
It was the 3-year window. This
Yes.
is true. And look, the 3-year window is usually when you can determine whether a draft pick is bust or not. And look, I'm going to lean on the fact that if Kyle Trask starts one game in the NFL, I win.
No,
this season.
No.
Yes, that's a starter.
That's
He's a starter.
you just heard. No, you just heard it. It wasn't. Oh, he can start a game. That was part of that comment, Larry. It's not just like anybody can start a game. It was, are you the starting quarterback for the team? It's not just, oh, Mayfield twists
he will
ankle.
be the starting quarterback for the team for one game.
We very clearly, I'm sorry, we very clearly on the thing you just heard said it's not just one game.
It didn't say regular the entire season. I didn't hear a
Muse,
specific
then you got to pull
length.
up the whole thing. Then we'll pull the whole. Like you. There's no way you're weaseling out of this. I already let my friend Lauren Brooks at 1010XL in Jacksonville weasel out of a bet she lost to me about Jameis Winston being the starter 3 years ago. I'm not letting you do this with Kyle Trash. You know you're going to lose. You know he stinks. You know you're wrong, and you're buying me whiskey.
I'm not wrong because the future has yet to be determined, so we don't know that.
All right.
Do you know
your credibility on the line?
Baker Mayfield has lost like 6 jobs.
Your credibility on the line. Do you think Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trash is the starting quarterback in Tampa this year?
Which week? Week 1?
Week 1.
8? Week 1? No.
But I didn't
Week
say
8, maybe.
That wasn't a yes or no. I said who is starting, Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trash, week 1.
I said Baker. Okay. I meant Baker. I would assume Baker would be the guy week 1. Now, Kyle Trask could be week 8.
You lose.
How do I lose?
You lose.
If he's week 8 through the rest of the season, he's a starting quarterback on a regular basis.
I'm not letting you weasel out of this one, Larry. No way. Not letting you do it. You know what? That's what I expect from someone who lets their kids yell, you're a loser to adults and then put it all over the interwebs. That's what I expect from someone like that. That's what I expect. I tell you what.
My 12-year-old, I told him I was going on the radio with you, and he offered to redo the video from a few years ago. He's a little older, a little taller, his voice is getting a little deeper. But he wanted to reenact it.
Well, whenever you're ready, I'm ready. So for those that don't know, whenever you listen to the top of the hour and you hear the drop, when it's like, you're a loser, Matt, that is one of Larry's sons who did that in a Twitter video. So we've brought it back around. Okay, man, look, I got to run. You lose, you owe me whiskey, or you will owe me whiskey. You will, in short order, you'll owe me whiskey, and you'll make good. You can drive up to my house and bring it to me, okay?
I will make good. I just haven't lost yet.
Yeah, you lost. The plug has been pulled. I mean, the priest has given the last rites. This is over, okay?
What do you mean? The plug is in the light socket right now. It's the first time the plug's actually been in the socket. You can't pull it yet.
Okay. That's Larry Holder. Follow him on Twitter at Larry Holder. Thank you, Larry.
All right, buddy. Good times as always.
All right.
See you later.
We'll see you. That's Larry Holder. This is After Further Review. We're in downtown Lafayette at 520 Jefferson. The pizzas just got here. They got sandwiches. They got cake. They got open bar. They got the party going on, man. Y'all come hang out if you're in Lafayette. It is the ESPN 1037 launch party for ESPN 1037 Lafayette and ESPN 1041 Lake Charles. We're fired up to be part of the everyday lineup. All the staff's here. Crew's all here. Y'all come say hello and hang out. Kids are welcome. Families welcome. Look forward to seeing everybody here in downtown Lafayette. 520 Jefferson Street, downtown Lafayette. You can't miss us. Okay, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. When we come back, Jordan Travis and the Noles took their turn at ACC Media Days. We'll let you hear about LSU's Week 1 opponent next.
AFR.
Hey, I want to take 60 seconds to remind you about our friends over at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. More than 60 Rouse's locations all over Louisiana and parts of the Gulf South. Rouses.com, Rouses.com. Hey, go to the website, Rouses.com. You can hit the weekly ad tab or on the Rouses app. Of course, you can always go to Rouse's Facebook page. Rouses.com or go to the Rouse's Facebook page. You can always see the great specials that they have, the weekly specials that they have going on. So, man, right now, how about the best price in town on USDA Select beef value pack T-bone steaks? You want to throw a T-bone on the grill? Go by and see our friends at Rouse's. The other thing that's really cool that they have going on is the buy 4 or more, save more special going on right now for the program for wine and other spirits where you can buy 4 or more, mix and match, and you can save. It's at Rouse's. The official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Get to Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come on, in Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Get 3.99% financing on select 2023 models at Corval Toyota in Opelousas. And we also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on
down. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Florida State took its turn at ACC Media Days this week. And, look, obviously this isn't a time where we would normally spend a lot of time or resources on Florida State football. But, I mean, LSU's open up against Florida State. Everyone's anticipating that being a a preseason top 10 matchup. It is the marquee game of the opening weekend. Vegas has LSU early as a slight 2.5-point favorite in that game down in Orlando on the Sunday before Labor Day. So whatever's going on with the Noles is something we're going to keep an eye on here for the next month as we get closer to that game. And then, quite honestly, we'll probably keep an eye on Florida State throughout the season, because when you start thinking about however that game goes, like, you're going to be thinking about playoff and a non-conference, either a really good non-conference win, which you hope will be, or if you lose, you want Florida State to be awesome so that if it's a loss, that keeps looking better and better and better. So for strength of schedule and all those other metrics. But in any event, Jordan Travis took his turn at ACC Media Days when he was at the podium and talked a little bit about, and he did not shy away at all about the Seminoles' goals for this upcoming season.
Just to be the best people we can be every day. It starts with the person you are. I always talk about that. I mean, what you do off the field, and I feel like it kind of correlates to what you do on the field. I mean, how you treat the janitor should be the same way how you treat the athletic director. And I really believe in that type of stuff, man. Yeah, but the goal is to win every single football game we play. That's always our goal. But this year I feel like the guys are bought into that, and we believe that.
To win every single game we play. Now, that's a Florida State team that, a season ago, when you looked at Florida State, they got the win over LSU in the opener. And look, by the hardest, and I think a lot of us, me included, undervalued Jordan Travis in that game. I know going into that game, my thought was LSU had a decided advantage at quarterback with Jaden Daniels over Jordan Travis, and both ended up having fantastic seasons. A giant difference, of course, a year ago is that Florida State had the game against Duquesne, the Week 0 game, which allowed them to work out some of the kinks. And they end up beating LSU 24-23. Jordan Travis threw for 260 in that game. But if you remember, after they started 4-0, they hit the skids and lost 3 straight. They lost to they lost to Wake Forest by 10. They lost the next week at NC State 19-17. And then they lost a home game to number 4 Clemson 34-28. So after starting 4-0, they went boom, 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 lost 3 in a row, and all of a sudden you're thinking, man, same old Florida State. But then they caught fire and they won out. They won their last 5 regular season games. Beat Georgia Tech. They won at Miami, won at Syracuse, beat the Cajuns in Tallahassee, and then beat Florida at home in their regular season finale. Then we know they played Oklahoma in the Cheez-It Bowl and won that one 35-32 in a high-scoring affair. And Jordan Travis threw for 418 in that ball game. So because they finished with 6 straight wins, got all the momentum, got to double-digit wins, beat Oklahoma in the bowl game, they carried – and, of course, they got Jared Verse back. Johnny Patrick, Johnny Patrick, that's a blast from the Saints pass. Johnny Wilson, the receiver, back. Jordan Travis back. Florida State returns the most production of any team in college football this year. Out of 133 teams, of course, Bill Connolly at ESPN does his returning production metric. 87% of their production returns. 87. Number 1 in the country. 1 out of 133. Every team in college football, nobody returns more production than Florida State. I mean, after that midseason funk where they were sitting there at 4-3, they caught lightning. They won out. They won 6 in a row, including the bowl game. And now the question is, how do you build from there? The offense returns 80% of its production with, obviously, Jordan Travis. 7 of their top 10 leading receivers are back. 5 offensive linemen that started at times a year ago are back. And then defensively, 94% of their production returns. That's number 2 in the country. So you look at Florida State, a team that won 10 games, returned their starting quarterback, all the things we just talked about, and you return all those guys, naturally there's going to be lofty expectations, which is why they are where they are. Florida State has also added 2 transfers in the last week that are guys that are going to be eligible. A few days ago, it was Northwestern linebacker Justin Cryer who transferred into Florida State. So Pat Fitzgerald was fired amid the hazing scandal. With the coaching change, it allows players to go and to be eligible. So Cryer is a 6'2", 225-pound linebacker. He was the second player from Northwestern to enter the portal after the firing. So safety Nigel Glover was the other. So Cryer was a 3-star recruit coming out of high school, but and had offers from Florida State coming out of high school, Georgia Tech, Tulane, Arizona State, Arkansas. This is a guy who's played a lot of football, had started all 13 games last year for Northwestern. So it's a linebacker that you talk about returning production. 90%, 94% of Florida State's production from a year goes back, and then they add Cryer now, who started all 13 games for Northwestern last year with 65 tackles on the season. And then this week they added a transfer from Ohio State. It is Mason Arnold. So Mason Arnold, he's a scholarship long snapper, so he's a specialist who was one of the top long snappers in the country. He started his career at Ohio State and jumped in the portal just now and is immediately eligible at Florida State now. So something worth keeping an eye on as we look at the season opener with LSU. As big of a deal as special teams were last year in the LSU-Florida State game to start the season, one of Florida State's specialists is a newcomer transfer who's just this week added to the roster there in Tallahassee. So Jordan Travis talking about Florida State, their goal is to win every game. Of course, they open up with LSU, and if they get past that one, you could look at this schedule and say, aside from the road trip to Clemson on September the 23rd, Florida State's probably favored in every game. After LSU, they got Southern Miss at home. Then they're at Boston College. They're at Clemson, which we talked about. They get an open date, and then they play Virginia Tech at home, Syracuse at home, Duke at home. They go to Wake Forest, who, of course, is replacing its quarterback. They go to Sam Hartman, who's now at Notre Dame. They go to Pittsburgh November the 4th, and then they finish up with Miami at home, a non-conference game against North Alabama. Then they go to the Swamp in a game where Florida State could very well be playing for a playoff berth at that point. So, again, aside from the neutral site game against LSU and the road game against Clemson September 23rd, Florida State's likely to be favored in every other game they play. So Jordan Travis says the goal is to win them all. If they get past that first one against LSU, it's a very, very real possibility in the regular season for the Florida State Seminoles. But getting past LSU will be a very steep hill to climb. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. I'm glad to have you aboard with us here on this Thursday edition of AFR presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Always love telling you about our friends over at the Williamson Eye Center. If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com for the Williamson Eye Center. Remember, it's almost back to school time, so our friends at the Williamson Eye Center, I talk about LASIK every day, and it's just so important because it changed my life. It can for you as well. You want to ditch the contacts and glasses forever, you can. You want to see 2020 or better than 2020 without contacts or glasses, you can with the Williamson Eye Center. But remember, it's not just eye surgery. It's eye care, eyewear, and eye surgery. So you're going to bring your kids for their annual eye exam before back to school, go to the Williamson Eye Center, and they got a BOGO. It's buy one, get one 50% off for glasses and contacts right now before school starts. And you can get entered into a drawing for $100 in school supplies. So check it out at the Williamson Eye Center. Call 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Fired up to have you aboard with us here. And, man, crowd's starting to come in here as people are knocking off of work. We're at 520 Jefferson Street in downtown Lafayette, celebrating the launch party for ESPN 103.7 Lafayette. And glad to have you aboard with us. If you're in Lafayette or know someone who is, tell them to come on down. They got free. Man, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They got 12 pizzas. There are 12 pizzas. That looks like wings or ribs. Those are sandwiches over there. They got a big old cake over there. They got open bars, so y'all come hang out. It's a totally free party. Just come celebrate with us the launch of ESPN 103.7 here in Lafayette. It's After Further Review. Muse will do Tigers and the Pros to wrap up hour number 2 next.
AFR.
I want to remind you about Clegg's Nursery. Of course, skip by any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations. Hey, I want to remind you, look, we have really seen, after early in the summer, the rain totals were massive. The last couple of weeks, it's just been like a desert wasteland out here. Can't get rain. So if you're wondering about your flowers, your plants, how to make them thrive with all the hot temperatures and the lack of rain, get by Clegg's. Ask their horticulturists. Great people with tons of knowledge that can help you get all of your questions answered. Maybe you're looking for flowers or plants. What will thrive in this type of climate and temperature? Clegg's can help you out. Get by any of the 4 Clegg's nursery locations: Segan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Of course, they got all that you need. Everything you'd find at a True Value hardware store, they've also got at Clegg's Nursery. They got Johnny Naylor seeds. You know what to do. Tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, retirement is a state of mind. Whether it's a mid-morning activity or an early bird special, grab a Coors Light and chill like you're retired.
Here at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, we have in stock 2023 Toyota Tundras, and you can get $1,000 special edition bonus cash. $1,000 bonus cash. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. The fallout is growing from an investigative unit report about leaked DNA evidence in the Madison Brooks case. 24 hours after WBRZ exposed a lack of DNA evidence, the state NAACP has asked District Attorney Hiller Moore to dismiss the charges against the suspects. The test showed no DNA was found inside of her from the suspects arrested accused of raping her. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Bayou Ford has $8,000 off MSRP, plus 1.9% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks, along with Bayou Ford's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco, voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine. Government Taco.
After further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2, Muso. Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
Astros took on the chin last night. Alex Bregman does his part, though. 2 for 3 in the loss. Big blow was a 3-run homer that actually got the scoring started. It was Bregman's 17th of the season. Came in the first inning. 3 RBI on the night to go along with a run score. Astros lost 13-5. Hunter Fiducia in the Los Angeles Dodgers organization, another solid night. That's 2 in a row. 2 for 4 for the former Tiger catcher. One of them a double, his 16th. Did come around to score each time he reached base and then walked twice in the game as well. Jacob Berry, we told you he got promoted on Tuesday to the Pensacola Blue Wahoo. 2 days, 2 games, 3 hits, 2 for 4 last night for Jacob Berry. Both singles, both driving in runs with 2 RBI on the night there. Hitting 429 so far now up in AA. Andrew Stevenson, 3 for 4 last night for the St. Paul Saints in AAA. His 17th double of the season. The other 2 hits were singles. Drove in a run, scored 2 runs of his own as well. And then we'll wrap it up. Jake Slaughter, the Iowa Cubs. Big night for him. Home run number 17 on the year as part of a 2-hit night. Would also score 3 runs in the game and draw 2 walks. That's 4 trips around the bases for Jake Slaughter. That is Tigers in the Fifth.
Muse, how did we not get the Jacob Berry chant? Give me the drop, bro.
Well, the delay is why I didn't do it.
No, man, we ain't got no latency. We're like maybe a second, maybe. And plus, Bo potted me down anyway. You couldn't hear me no ways. It wouldn't matter, but I still want to hear it. Can you play it? You have it?
Yeah.
Jacob Berry. There it is. It just didn't feel right. You know what I mean? It just didn't feel right.
It was missing a little something.
We did the Jay Berry drop.
Missing a little something.
I mean, that's like if I said Todd Peterson. You know what I mean?
Peterson.
See? Got to keep that dude on his toes sometimes.
It's not the same.
All right, it's
with
after
latency.
further review. We're glad you.
Same with the latency.
What?
So it's not the same with the latency.
It's marginal. That's marginal. All right, anyway. Glad to have you aboard with us here. Wrapping up hour number 2. Busy 5 o'clock hour coming ahead. So Javen Coleman is going to be with us in 20 minutes. LSU lefty, you know the story. Tommy John a year ago, came back this season, was drafted by the Dodgers, did not sign. We'll ask him why in about 20 minutes from right now. All right, top of the hour is coming. When we come back, Payton Turner ascending, Trevor Penning hurt again. We're talking about it next, AFR.
AFR.
All right, as we put a button here on hour number 2, remind you about our friends over at Traction. Was over at Traction this morning. I'm sure there'll be another reel of me working out. If you missed it, it's on Traction social media from Monday or yesterday. Anyway, look, here's the thing about Traction. I tell you all the time, you want to do personal, individual training, you can do it over at Traction. If you want small group training, sports-specific training, you can do it at Traction. I go in the mornings and I have private workouts. There's the St. Joseph soccer team, the Parkview softball team, all getting workouts, team workouts. If your son or daughter wants to play flag football, where better to go than Traction? What a resource, man. When I was a kid, we were just fired up when we could play on a field that had a fence so you could hit an over-the-fence home run. Traction's got $1 million turf fields that they've invested in our community for youth sports to keep getting better. It's where champions are made. TractionSports.com. TractionSports.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. In the first game of a doubleheader today, Angels right-hander Shohei Ohtani throws a one-hitter, a 6-0 shutout of the Tigers, Ohtani's first career complete game. In the second game, Ohtani has 2 home runs, giving him 38 to lead the majors. The Angels lead that one 7-2 in the 6th. Broncos coach Sean Payton tells USA Today that Denver's coach last year, Nathaniel Hackett, did one of the worst coaching jobs in the history of the league. Hackett is now the offensive coordinator for the Jets, where he works for head coach Robert Saleh.
I kind of live by saying, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. So hate away. Obviously, we're doing something right if you got to talk about us when we don't play you till week 4. You know, the guys in our locker room, they've earned everything that's coming to them. And really excited about what's going on. I think Hackett's doing a phenomenal job here.
Robert Saleh. Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow carted off the practice field today after a non-contact injury to his right calf. Early indications are it could be a calf strain for Burrow. The Bengals today signed defensive end Trey Hendrickson to a 1-year extension.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. We are in downtown Lafayette today at 520 Jefferson, home of one of the properties of Delta Media, our great partner here, ESPN 103.7 Lafayette, having the launch party. So if you're in Lafayette, if you know someone who is, let them know. Awesome event. They got tons of food over here. It's free food. Pizzas, sandwiches. Are those wings or ribs? Wings? Beer. There is open bar, so y'all come hang out here. 520 Jefferson in downtown Lafayette. We'll be here till 8 o'clock, so I'll be hanging out. Come by, say hello, meet the whole staff. Everybody's here. Great crowd already, and we're looking forward to making it a great night tonight, so come hang out with us. Javen Coleman in 13 minutes. LSU pitcher Javen Coleman in 13 minutes from right now. Before the Saints hit the field in training camp, I told you there were 3 primary storylines I was keeping an eye on. One is the most obvious for everyone. It's Derek Carr, right? I mean, You have a new franchise quarterback. You invested a lot of money in Derek Carr to bring him in after 9 years in Oakland/Vegas with the Raiders. Is he the guy that's going to help you ascend to championship level? Carr is the obvious number one that everyone should be talking about. Number two for me is linebacker, because I think you feel like you know who your guys are at every spot. Not to say there can't be surprises and guys that step up and win jobs, but you've got Demario Davis, Pete Werner, and then what? So I think that's a big one. And number three for me, as far as my biggest camp storylines, were Trevor Penning and Payton Turner, because you have invested so much draft capital into those two guys, and over the last 2 seasons gotten so little return. Now, Penning, obviously an injury. Turner, it's been injury and lack of performance. Let's be honest. That dude has been a healthy scratch in his career. He's played 13 games in 2 seasons. But for all we like to talk about at times with the Saints about the fact that they're cap hell and mismanaging the cap and all that sort of stuff, really the bottom line is where the Saints have gotten caught is the fact that they've missed. They've missed in the top of the draft. There's no other way to say it. When you go back to 2017 and you draft Lattimore and Ramchick and Marcus Williams and Alvin Kamara and Alex Anzalone and Trey Hendrickson and Al-Qadim Muhammad, who's still in the league, by the way, like, you drafted a whole bunch of starters. But when you go into 2020 and you draft a Cesar Ruiz, Zach Bond, Adam Troutman, Tommy Stevens, you whiffed on that draft. And you go to 2021 and you took Payton Turner in round 1. That's a whiff so far. Now, you had Pete Werner, who's played, and Paulson Adebo, but the rest of that draft was Ian Book, Landon Young, and Kwan Baker. Then last year, you took Olave, who's a hit, Penning, Alontae Taylor, DeMarco Jackson, and Jordan Jackson. Now, DeMarco Jackson, Jordan Jackson, you've got nothing, and Alontae Taylor has been awesome, but Penning was a first-round pick, and you need him to be a starter. So, more than anything, you need these guys that you invested that draft capital in to be starting players for you and for your organization. So keeping an eye on those two guys in this camp, I think it's massive to make sure they stay healthy and they're ready to win jobs. You need Trevor Penning to win the left tackle job. You need Payton Turner to win the starting right end job opposite Cam Jordan. You need those two things to happen coming out of camp. And today, Dennis Allen gave us sort of mixed reviews on both those guys. First, it was not great news for Trevor Penning, if you would. Here was Dennis Allen after practice today.
I thought another good practice. We had a few guys that didn't finish practice today. Colin Saunders with an illness. Shaq Davis and Keith Kirkwood, just a little heat related. Trevor Penning missed today with a foot injury. Stay today. I expect he'll be out here tomorrow or the next day, but we'll see where he's at tomorrow. But overall, I think still pretty good health. The guys are competing out there. I thought it was a spirited practice today, so I thought it was a step forward from yesterday. Tomorrow will be much the same, a little bit longer practice tomorrow, put on some shells, but we're still not in pads yet, so that's where we're at.
Okay, so if you missed it therein, Dennis Allen said Trevor Penning missed practice today with a foot injury. One quick follow-up, Muse, from Dennis Allen on the injury.
It's not related to the previous surgery, really minor. Probably more of a precaution to keep him out today.
Okay. I'm not going to overreact because it's the second day of camp and the coach is telling you it's minor, probably more of a precaution. I get it. That's great. But, and also, veterans miss camp. There are every training camp in the NFL, there are veteran players who they go out there, they stretch, and then, they have a hamstring or a neck or a knee or whatever they need to say just to say they're getting a day off, which is fine. Like, veterans get days off. It's fine. Our guy Mike D always says practice is for the unskilled. Veterans get days off in camp. I'm cool with it. The problem is Trevor Penning ain't a veteran. He's a second-year player who only played 6 games as a rookie because he had 2 different foot injuries. He had turf toe that he suffered in the preseason, comes back, plays in 6 games, then misses the rest of the season with a Lisfranc on the other foot. So you have a big 320-pound-plus dude who's a monster, by the way, when he's healthy, but hasn't been healthy. So, yeah, I'm going to be a little more concerned about it. I want to remind you, do you remember the storylines with Trevor Penning in last year's training camp when he was a rookie? Do you remember? It caused me to go on a really fun rant, a good rant. Yo, do you remember Trevor Penning got kicked out of practice after he fought 3 straight days? Do you remember that story? He fought with Payton Turner and Taco Charlton on a Monday. On Tuesday, he fought with J.T. Gray and Scott Patchin. And then the third day in a row he fought with Malcolm Roach. And Dennis Allen ran his ass out of practice. He kicked him out of practice. Dude's a monster. He's got a mean streak. I love it. Like, I love the concept of Trevor Penning. But if he ain't on the field, it doesn't matter. So, again, I'm not going to sit here and, like, overreact to it. The coach is saying, and I'll take him at his word, that it's precautionary, probably could have practiced, it's early in camp. Okay. But because of what happened a year ago with 2 foot injuries, and now you're telling me the second day of camp he's got a foot injury, yeah. I'm not just going to passively ignore it. So it's worth watching. Now, the great news is, I think this is fantastic news, actually, is that Payton Turner was taking reps with the ones today. Here was Dennis Allen on Payton Turner's day.
I think it's a combination of something that he's earned, and we're looking to see who's going to be that guy that's going to line up on the other side of Cam Jordan, and somebody's got to not be given that role. Somebody's got to take that role. And look, he's earned the right to get those reps, and now it's what do you do with him?
He hasn't been given the role, but he's earned the right to get the reps. And actually, if you look at what he did, he had a run stuff, he had a forced fumble, he forced a throwaway by Jameis Winston. So, again, there's no pads. He's running around with a helmet, shorts, and a jersey on, but he's being disruptive, and that's what you need to see from an end in that role. So, yeah, I think that I do have reasons for optimism to think that maybe in year 3, if his body's right, his mind's right, it's that you see that learning curve for a young guy who didn't play a ton at Houston and had some injuries. Now, could play inside and out. Now, year 3, if he's healthy, this could be the time that he could go boom. So, I'm optimistic about Payton Turner. More so, I'm happy to see, because of the two, if you ask me at the start of this camp, who's more likely to win the job? Trevor Penning at left tackle or Payton Turner at right end? I would have told you Trevor Penning. He's a beast. I think he could win the left tackle job over Hurst. I just haven't seen anything from Turner to suggest that he's good enough to do it. Like Marcus Davenport flashed. We saw Marcus Davenport be a problem. He just couldn't stay healthy. Turner has been a healthy scratch at times. So if Turner is physically coming along, that's fantastic news. So the 2 rookies, remember as we started, I told you there were 3 things in camp. It was Carr, the linebackers, the 2 rookies. Well, that's the 2 rookies. The other thing that's really good about Carr is you continue to hear all of the veteran players vouch for him. Here was Ryan Ramczyk after practice on Thursday talking about Carr's command of the huddle.
He came in here, and I think he's going to be a great leader. He's got great leadership skills, great command of the huddle. He's got kind of a calm, cool, collected, confident swagger to him. So I'm excited. I know we're all excited to get the ball rolling here.
Every single veteran that's asked about Derek Carr all says some form or fashion of the same thing, and it's what Ryan Ramczyk just said. And that's awesome. You have to have a veteran that the team respects and that commands the huddle and the locker room. And Derek Carr has done that very quickly. So that is definitely a reason for optimism. And then there's linebacker, the guy who is the unquestioned alpha on the defense and the leader of this team is Demario Davis. And he was asked point blank, the question I've asked, you've got Demario Davis, you got Pete Werner, and then who? Well, here was Demario Davis taking a stab at that.
We got a good group of guys in the locker room. I know a lot of praise goes to me and Pete, but we got some other guys who've been here and put in a lot of work. Andrew Dye, who's been phenomenal, providing depth for a long time. I think he's entering his 5th season here. Zach Bond has been phenomenal. We got some young guys who haven't hit the field as much, but look very explosive and smart guys and definitely putting in the work. Nephi, D-Jack. So I think we're in good hands in that room.
You got to go prove it. But if the man of God says it, I'll fall in line. I'll follow that dude anywhere. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. We'll knock out a quick break when we come back. Talk a little bit of LSU baseball. Javen Coleman passed on the Dodgers. He's coming back to LSU. Why did he make that decision? We'll ask him when we return next here on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Darren James & Associates, brokered by eXp Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. You know where to find them. It's at agent225.com. That's agent225.com. And how fitting that today I'm doing the show in Lafayette, and I saw just this week that Darren James is now licensed in Acadiana. He's opened his Acadiana office as well. So if you're here in the Lafayette area and you're thinking about selling your home, call Darren James and get your home sold. Why would you call anyone other than the realtor that sells more homes than anyone? On the Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1,000 realtors in America this year, Darren James, number 54 in the country. That's not opinion. That is objective metrics based on the number of homes sold. You got to call the best. Call Darren James. 335-7666. 335-7666 or agent225.com. That's agent225.com. If you need to sell your home, you need the best. You need Darren James. Agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,500 off MSRP on all new 23 Ram 1500 Laramie trucks in stock. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Rev Business started small in 1935. We built our reputation by providing hometown service with Louisiana hustle. For nearly 90 years, we've expanded across our great state, through the swamps and across the Mississippi, bringing fiber optics from the capital to the North Shore and down the bayou to the coast, all to connect your business with the world. Rev is about big business technology with small business personal service, powerful solutions, unmatched local service. Rev Business.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
With the MLB draft signing deadline 2 days ago, LSU was sweating out one name. It was left-handed pitcher Javen Coleman, who was a 16th round pick of the Dodgers. And the question was, would he sign or would he come back to LSU? And Tigers got the great news that the lefty's coming back for another season in Baton Rouge. Javen Coleman, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me, man.
Man, it's our pleasure. Let me just start with the decision to come back. When did you make a final decision? Like, how did that conversation with the Dodgers go, which went obviously right up to the deadline?
Right, yeah. No, in the draft, obviously I got taken pretty late. Wasn't necessarily expecting to go that late. Had talked to a few teams, but nothing crazy. And actually, I hadn't even talked to him. And all of a sudden, my agent called me. I was drafted. But yeah, no, it came down to the deadline, and it just seemed like the right fit was for me to come back to school. Limiting myself to 6 appearances as I came off injury, and I just felt like having a full season increased my draft stock, and also I just won a national champion. Why not run it back?
Yeah. And so whenever you're going, so like your agent calls you, tells you you're getting picked by the Dodgers, like what? Right. I mean, it's still like regardless if you sign or not, that's still pretty. It's still pretty cool. Like the Dodgers drafted you. So like, what's that moment like when you get the call that you got picked?
Yeah, no, it was awesome. Like I said, we weren't really expecting it because we hadn't even talked to him really. And my agent called me as I was in academy actually checking out, and he was like, "Dude, the Dodgers drafted." He was like, "No way!" And I was like, actually going crazy. I was like, "That's awesome." No, but super surreal and just really, really grateful for that opportunity.
Did you go into that knowing like you had a dollar amount, like, all right, if they hit this number, you're going to sign? Or did you, I mean, I hate to say you were flying blind. I mean, obviously your agent handles that sort of stuff, but like,
right.
did they get, like, did you have that number and like, did you get close? Did they even get close to what your number would have been?
They try to get as much as they could. Obviously, each organization can only have a certain amount of money, and if they go over it, it penalizes them for the next year in the draft. So they gave me what they could, and I appreciated their time. You know what I mean? But it just wasn't quite enough to pull me from LSU being as good of a school as we are and a team that we're going to be this upcoming year. And going into the fight for another national championship. So I thought that was my best fit and best chance of increasing my draft stock for next year.
Yeah, man, I want to talk a little bit about this upcoming season. Before we do that, let's go back though. Man, you had such a great finish to your freshman year, and if we're being honest, like, you were the best left-handed arm on the team in 2022. Like, and then the injury happens. What was it like for you when, like, if you can go back to that point when you tore your UCL, like, what were you feeling? Not physically, but like, what was it like having to shut it down for what I would guess is the first time in your life?
Yeah, no, I've had not as significant injuries, where you're only out for a couple of weeks, but thinking back on it and remembering how I felt, my heart was in my stomach. I was like, "Are you serious? You work all this time and now I'm out." But yeah, and then just getting the MRI back and just the doctor telling me, "Hey, your UCL's torn," and you find out, "Oh crap, I'm out for over a year." You know what I mean? That was just really the biggest thing. Like I said, my heart was in my stomach, and I was like, "Are you serious?" And I just got to take it one day at a time, man. Now we're back and we're here. So,
Javen Coleman's with us. When you got back on the bump for the first time this year, remember it well. You had a pretty good first inning at the box, and you were throwing some high heat as well. What did it feel like on the mound against live hitters again in a game and opening it up for the first time in more than a year?
Oh, I was super ecstatic, super pumped to be back out there with my team and just turning around, seeing Jordan Thompson, Trey, Dylan all out there, yelling at me, telling me, "Let's go." Felt just amazing to be back out there with them. But yeah, I felt like myself again. I was out there doing my thing and playing with my boys, what I love to do. So it was awesome.
So was there a point or was it that time where you felt like yourself again? Because a lot of times coming off that injury, and look, I mean, obviously I've never pitched at the collegiate level or know what it's like to tear my UCL, but you talk to enough guys that go through it, and it feels like there's a general, like, ramp up where you start building endurance again. Did you go through that this year in your 14 innings?
Honestly, no. I mean, it's hit or miss every single day, whether you're pitching or not, whether you're throwing, just playing catch. And so I don't know. I never really felt consistently really good, like some of those outings I had. Some days I felt like crap. Some days I felt really good. But, yeah, no, it's kind of – I think it's different for everybody, and just you got to listen to your body.
Javen Coleman's with us. He's on Twitter at Javen Coleman1. Y'all give him a follow. So, obviously, you got to throw in Omaha. You all win the national championship. There's a dog pile. Wait, let me first ask just about, like, the feeling of winning the national championship. Like, where were you, like, watching that final out? Guidry gets the strikeout. Like, where were you? What did you do?
So I think it was me, Riley Cooper, Gavin, and Griffin. We all got sitting down in the bullpen like the second inning. So I was down there the whole game, so that's where I watched it from. But that final out was made, and I think I blacked out. And I don't even remember. I don't really remember much, honestly, besides jumping in the pile. And everybody's just going crazy. It was just a phenomenal experience to be a part of.
The good news about being in the bullpen for the final out is you're not on the bottom of the pile. You get to go on the top of the pile, right? That's the difference. Hey, so
somehow I made myself in the bottom of the dog pile, I think, in the Super Regionals to go to Omaha, and I got smushed. I'll tell you that much.
Wait, so you were at the bottom of the dog pile at the box when y'all beat Kentucky to go to Omaha? It's like, how did that happen?
I don't know. I ran from the bullpen again. I got sit down in the bullpen. I guess I ran faster than everybody. And I got there. Next thing you know, I'm underneath 35 guys, and I was telling them to get up as fast as they could.
I guess the bullpen being on the field at the box is closer than like beyond the wall in the outfield.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, by the way, there's plans to move the bullpens at the box, I think, for next year, like under the right field bleachers. Do you, as players, like fans talk about this all the time. As players, do y'all talk about that much about the bullpens being on the field?
Yeah, it's actually talked about quite often. I think everybody would prefer it to be behind the field just because it's kind of like a hazard in a way when outfielders are going out and, in foul territory and running into those. But also it's just, I don't know. I think everybody's more comfortable behind the wall and kind of doing their own thing. Yeah. You're out there in front of everybody doing any sort of thing, so everybody's watching you.
Hopefully that goes down this offseason. Sounds like it will. All right, a couple more for you. I want to talk about this coming year. So, what were the conversations like with Coach Jay? You coming back and what your role will be on this team next year? Because man, I charted it out a couple days ago. Y'all are gonna have like 10 lefties on the squad next year. So what's your role?
Yeah, no, having that many lefties has been abnormal since I've gotten to LSU anyway in 2020. But I think Jay's going to give everybody a fair chance, and in the fall, watching everybody in the fall scrimmages and the spring scrimmages is kind of going to lead how our rotation's going to be and whatnot. But obviously, I plan to go for a starting role on that weekend, so that's what I'm shooting for. And like I said, Coach Johnson's going to be fair to everybody, and I'll end up where I'm meant to be and what I earned.
Have you gotten a chance to meet Nate Yeske yet, the new pitching coach?
I've talked to him on the phone, but I haven't been back in Baton Rouge to meet him in person, face to face.
What were your phone conversations like?
Oh, it's super, super chill. Seems like a really good, genuine guy. Seems like he knows what he's talking about when it comes to pitching. I heard he's good with lefties, so I'm going off that, and I'm expecting our pitching staff to be really, really good, and I know we have a lot of talent coming in.
What was it like pitching to Dylan Cruz at practice?
Tough. Seeing him walk up, you're like, oh, this guy again.
So aside from Cruz, when y'all would do inter squads, aside from Cruz, who did you hate facing the most?
I think Trey, just because he likes spoiling pitches a lot. Regardless if it's a fastball or something off speed, he's going to find a way to foul it off and just make you work. That's the type of hitter he is. That's why he's hard to get out. That's why he's freaking good. So.
Well, you don't have to worry about him anymore, man. He's playing for the Rays. He's playing for the Rays
right.
now. He's on Twitter at Javen Coleman1. Y'all give him a follow. Tiger pitchers running it back. Javen Coleman will be back in the purple and gold next year. Hey, man, I appreciate a couple of minutes, especially while you're on vacation, man. Thanks so much for taking some time.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me.
All right, man. Be well. That is Javen Coleman. This is After Further Review. We're in downtown Lafayette today. We're at 520 Jefferson. We're celebrating at the ESPN 1037 launch party here with our friends from Delta Media and tons of listeners. Man, this place is really packed out. We're going to be here until 8 o'clock. So if you're in Lafayette or know someone who will, come on by. They got a ton of food. They got open bar. I mean, I'm looking at – they got beer. They got wine. Might have some whiskey back there for you, boy. We'll see. Beautiful spot overlooking Jefferson Street right here in downtown Lafayette. So if you're in Lafayette or the area, y'all come out. We're going to be hanging out until maybe you're knocking off of work. Come have some dinner with us. They got tons of food. They got, again, open bar. Everything's free. Great party. Come hang out with us. Love to meet everybody. So just what a day, man. Beautiful day in downtown Lafayette. Awesome people here, so I'm excited to be here. And the whole Delta Media staff, all the staff from ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is here, so come meet all the gang. All right, y'all. Let me knock out a break. When we come back, we've got a lot we have to get to, and not a ton of time to do it, as we only got a couple of segments left. I do want to come back. So two things I want to update. One, I got an update on Joe Burrow from Diana Rossini literally 60 seconds ago. We'll get to that. And then also the Colorado news is now official. We'll reset that as well. More realignment is happening in major college football. We'll get to that when we continue next here on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001. Give them a shout. 752-0001. I don't even have to go to the Google reviews today. I literally got an email to my inbox earlier today from Carmel Dysart, who said, Matt, last night my husband and I noticed our AC was not as cool as usual. We managed to make it through the night with fans in the house. Told my husband I heard about River City's on your show and gave him the number. I just spoke to him. He said he contacted him. They were efficient, fast, and the AC is working. This afternoon when I get home, I'm going to write them a review. How about that? Last night their AC went out. They called River City's 1 Hour Air this morning, and by lunchtime it was already fixed. Y'all, it's River City's 1 Hour Air. Call the best. They're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m.
after further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
All right, I got a couple of stories to update here. Number one, like as we started the show today, I mean, I think we were literally in the first segment of the show, and the video started making its rounds on Twitter of Joe Burrow at Bengals camp today. Coming up lame. It was if you haven't seen the video yet, you'll see it. Just pull up Twitter or you'll see the video. Burrow was rolling to his right. He stepped up, and as he was starting to run right, he just kind of came up limp and couldn't put his right foot down. He was carted off. Diana Rossini just minutes ago, literally as we were going into break, tweeted. It's very short. I'll tweet it. Bengal sources have confirmed what head coach Zach Taylor shared after practice. Joe Burrow has a strained calf. So that is phenomenal news. If you see the video, you will notice that Burrow was wearing a sleeve on his right calf. But, and I don't know the reason for that. I can't provide any other context other than Burrow has a strained calf, and that's awesome news. We all saw when he was a rookie and his knee exploded, and I think you always fear that, right? I mean, and it's gut-wrenching to see a player like that go down in that situation, but the great news is just a strained calf, nothing more, not serious, and he'll be great, which, not that money is everything, but the timing obviously matters. I mean, Justin Herbert just signed his extension, and it's clearly that's what Burrow was waiting on in his deal. As a matter of fact, Adam Schefter on NFL Live said as much when he was commenting on Herbert's extension.
That news yesterday about Justin Herbert impacted a lot of people. But there's nobody that it impacted more than Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. And they're sitting there, and they now have a starting point at which to go. And I can promise you the numbers are going to be well north of the numbers that came in on Justin Herbert.
So we know that the quarterback market has been reset several times now. Of course, Jalen Hurts set the market. Russell Wilson did last year with the Broncos. After Kyler Murray did. Remember, Deshaun Watson did. It just kept getting reset. Mahomes got his deal, then Deshaun got his guaranteed deal with the Browns, and then Kyler Murray got $230 million with $46.1 per year. Russ got $49 a year. Jalen got $51 a year. Lamar got $52, and then Justin Herbert's deal paid him $52.5 a year. So Burrows is going to go north of $52.5. He's going to go $53 million or higher per year. When he signs his new deal, which thankfully the injury today is minor and won't affect that in any way. So that was significant today, knowing that the Burrow injury was not significant. It was significant knowing how insignificant the injury was. The other massive news is that Colorado is headed to the Big 12. This is official from the official Colorado Twitter account on all of Colorado's social media. Colorado has made it official. They have announced they are returning to the Big 12. The Big 12 approved admission of Colorado yesterday. All that remained was for Colorado to formally apply for admission, which they did today. It was granted, and Colorado will head back to the Big 12, where they were from 1996 to 2010 before they left for the Pac-12. Now Colorado is going back to the Big 12, joining a league which expanded this year, or is expanding this year with the additions of Central Florida, BYU, Houston, and Cincinnati. So they lose Texas and Oklahoma, but they added 4, and now they're adding Colorado, and it's unlikely that they stay on an uneven number. So Desmond Howard was on Get Up earlier today and was asked 2 questions. One was about Colorado going to the Big 12. The other was about the future of the Pac-12. First, here was Des on why Colorado going back to the Big 12 makes sense.
When Colorado went to the Pac-12, it seemed like an arranged marriage. It seemed like it was forced, and they were never really accepted in the Pac-12, and there was always some type of, it's like a strained relationship, a strained marriage. So you have the Big 12 in the corner giving Colorado the eye, talking about, hey, remember us? Why don't you guys come back over here? And you just saw Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. He's given that program so much added value. And don't forget, the Big 12 is about to lose Oklahoma and Texas. So now they bring in a very valuable brand with Colorado and Coach Prime. So it makes perfect sense.
Makes sense for the Big 12, undeniably. It stabilizes that league further, but it further destabilizes the Pac-12. I want to remind you, the reason this is relevant is the Pac-12 still does not have a media rights deal. Their media rights deal is expiring after this season. The reason this is significant, I'll explain this again. I'll try to make it like I think most people understand this, but just I'll boil this down as simply as I can. Every member institution in a league gives up its grant and rights, its media rights to the league. Basically says, we are contractually allowing you, the SEC, you, the Big 12, you, the Pac-12, to take our rights and go negotiate a TV deal for the entire league. So we can't go have individual media rights. So that's why, like, the ACC is in so much trouble, because they all the ACC schools agreed to a new media deal that runs through 2036. A dozen years from now, 13 years from now, before they can renegotiate. Like, everybody's deals are going to get done and redone multiple times over, and they're stuck at this price. That's why the ACC deal was terrible. But the Pac-12's media right deals expire after this year, so Colorado doesn't owe an exit fee. Their rights deal is done. Pac-12 doesn't have a new rights deal. So not only is Colorado leaving, but any other school that might want to leave the Pac-12, you do it now. You do it now because you're not going to have to pay an exit fee because there's no rights deal. So Colorado was the first here to leave the Pac-12 this year. They ain't going to be the last. Like, before a Pac-12 media rights deal gets done, I would assume if the Big 12 is going to add Utah, Arizona, Arizona State, if the Big 10 has eyes on Oregon, Washington, you go now. You go now before you lock yourself into a media rights deal with the Pac-12. And as a matter of fact, that's something else Des talked about. It's like, what this means, is this the end for the Pac-12?
Everything is headed in that direction right now. They're going to have to pull off something pretty incredible that no one sees coming if they're going to stay in existence, because it seems like it's going to be the SEC, the Big Ten, and it's going to be a third conference. A lot of people say it's going to be a two-conference system. I don't believe that at all. It's just too many college football teams to just be two conferences. It's going to have to at least be three, and it just may be the Big 12.
We are headed for the inevitability of what I've talked about for years, which is college football. Not SEC, Big Ten, ACC, just college football. An invite-only sport where the top 40, 50 programs, whatever it is, band together and have their collective rights as college football, like the NFL. The NFC South doesn't have its own right deal. The 32 NFL ownership groups allow the NFL to go negotiate their media rights. That is what college football is headed toward. And I know there's a lot of people who bemoan that, and they say this is bad for college football, that you don't want to become the NFL. And I'm going to say, why the hell not? Why not? And you know what your answer is? Well, the pageantry and the rivalries and all the things that make college football great. Where is that going? You think LSU's Golden Band from Tigerland is going to stop playing the four-corner salute if the league when Oklahoma is playing a conference game in Tiger Stadium? You think they're not going to march down Victory Hill? I mean, all the things that we love about college football will exist. This is going to make it better. Like, college football fans, for the entirety of our existence, have had the wool pulled over our eyes. We have been force-fed a lot of garbage about the pageantry and the sacred regular season and blah, 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 blah. It's stupid. It's nonsensical. Literally every other sport in the history of mankind has figured this out, yet somehow college football, having awful garbage cupcake body bag games, you're convinced is worth it. You want to know why these awful garbage body bag cupcake games exist? For two reasons. So the small school can get a paycheck, and the large school can get a gate receipt and not lose. That's it. You know who loses in that scenario? You do. The fans lose. Because who wants to watch LSU play Grambling this year? It's not a knock on Grambling. Great history with the late Eddie Robinson. That's not a knock on Grambling. But That is going to be a name your score in Tiger Stadium. Nobody wants to see it. You know why we're going to see it? An extra gate receipt, and Grambling gets a paycheck. That's why. You know who loses? The fan loses. The fan who's going to go sit in traffic, climb upstairs to go sit in section 640, wait in line to use the bathroom, wait in line to overpay for concessions. This isn't a knock on LSU, by the way. We're just here, and it's just the example I'm using. It's the reality of college football. You know what's going to be better? Expand conferences and play 10 conference games and 2 Power 5 non-conference games. Give me 12 games I actually want to see. Give me on-campus college football playoff games. Give me LSU hosting USC in Tiger Stadium in a first-round college football playoff matchup. Give me that. Give me more of that and less of LSU against Nichols. No knock to Nichols. Give me less of Florida against Florida A&M. I mean, give me less of Virginia Tech Old Dominion, mostly because Virginia Tech's tired of losing to Old Dominion. I know Muse just laughed at that one. I can't hear him, but I know he did. It's a good thing. It is a good thing for college football. Colorado going back to the Big 12, the inevitably what's going to happen with the Pac-12 dissolving or however it's going to go, I don't care. Because I don't care about conferences. I care about watching great college football. Week in and week out. Less of the games we don't want to see, more of the games we do. A fair and equitable playoff. And for those who are going to cry and say, well, the regular season, it's going to make the regular season more meaningful. You're going to be playing to get into the playoff. You're going to be playing for a bye. You're going to be playing for a home game. If you lose a game early in the season, it puts more emphasis on your games in November because if you want to get into the playoff, now you have to win them. Instead of, well, let's play out the string and hope we can land in the Texas Bowl. What is that? It will matter more for more teams deeper into the season. This is all a good thing. And sometimes I feel like a lone wolf standing up shouting it because so many people just bemoan college football disintegrating. As you know, what I'm telling you is the college football you know is a sham. We love it in spite of its flaws because we love our team and we love cheering for our team amid a broken system. And that broken system is getting fixed because after 100 years of lunacy, of bowl games, which are just to line the pockets of dudes in ugly blazers, 100 years of the president crowning a championship because he wanted to, we finally have something that's trending toward what this great sport should look like, and it's going to be a great thing for everybody. All right, it's after further review. Should have played some patriotic music under that. That felt like a presidential campaign or something like that. Make me the president of college football. That's what I want to be. I want to be the president, not of the United States. I want to be the president of college football. Let me run college football. I don't want to run all college sports because, I'm good with that. But I want to run college football. Make me the grand poobah of college football. First thing I'll do, no more body bag games. Everybody goes to 10 conference games, 2 Power 5 non-conference games. We get rid of conference championship games, which are also completely worthless and irrelevant. You do realize that, right? Everyone, how did college football manage for decades before divisional play? Just fine and crowning conference champions. You know why we have conference championship games? Because it's another television show that leagues could go sell a gate, and it's just a money thing. We don't need them. I would make everybody play 12 Power 5, 10 conference games, 2 Power 5 non-conference games. Everybody plays 12 games, no conference championship game, minimum 16-team playoff. I might go to 32. Make me the grand poobah of college football. I'm here for it. You would be too. You'd love it. All right, it's after further review. Man, what a great day today. This place is popping now as well. I'm excited to hang out here tonight. Hey, we're brought to you by Shawbills. Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Name brand tires at wholesale prices in the home of the Charlie's Dozen. Hey, they got a Shawbills not far from here. A couple in Lafayette, in Youngsville as well. Man, from Morgan City up to Baton Rouge, west into West Baton Rouge, Lafayette. The newest location in Laplace. Right there in the LP as well. If you're in Denham Springs, you got your own Shawbills. If you want name brand tires at wholesale prices, Shawbills and ShawBillsTire.com. And Shawbills is hiring. If you want a career instead of a job, get to Shawbills for more than 50 years. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. Okay, y'all, final break of the show. When we come back, we'll wrap up with a little what we learned. We are here at 520 Jefferson Street in downtown Lafayette. It is the ESPN 1037 launch party. Y'all come hang out. The food is served. The booze is flowing. It is a family-friendly event, so you can bring a lot of kids running around here, too. Feel free to come on. We're having a great time, and we'll be here until 8 o'clock tonight. So y'all come see us at 520 Jefferson Street in downtown Lafayette. All right, we'll wrap up next on AFR.
AFR.
Bayou Ford has $8,000 off MSRP, plus 1.9% financing on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks, along with Bayou Ford's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
What's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Here at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, we have in stock 2023 Toyota Tundras, and you can get $1,000 special edition bonus cash. $1,000 bonus cash. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Thursday edition of AFR presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. We're wrapping up here from the ESPN 1037 launch party at 520 Jefferson in downtown Lafayette. My guy RP3 is joining us, of course, weekdays 11 to 1, RP3 D-Lo and Mesh on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and ESPN 1041 Lake Charles. I'm getting the hang of saying it, man. I'm getting the hang of saying it.
You and I, you and me both, brother. It takes a little while.
Hey, first of all, I'm thrilled to be part of the lineup, so thank you for being so welcoming.
Thank you for being here, man.
And this event is really cool as well. What has this transition been like? Just specific, I'm going to speak, I mean, I get it. We're on right now in New Orleans and Alec and BR and really like all of this. But like specific for Acadiana, what was the main driving force behind doing this, launching this station, doing this affiliation with ESPN 1037?
You know, the big thing for us is in the course of the last year and a half or so, we launched in Lake Charles, and that went extremely well, and there was a need there because they didn't have sports talk. But then it was like, okay, what's the next step? And the game had been around for 10-plus years. Yep. We had a great 10th anniversary birthday bash and the whole 9 yards. But for us, it was like, how do we take it to the next level? And it just so kind of coincided, said, okay, we can be part of what they do with ESPN. We can be an ESPN affiliate. That opportunity presented itself, and then on the same hand, it's like, okay, we can do that, and, oh, by the way, the gold standard. And, you know, you're a humble guy, but the gold standard for sports talk in the state is AFR, and it's been that way for a long time.
Thank you, man. Very nice of you to say.
For me, for myself as the program director, the man in charge of the station, is like, we can do both of these moves, and it's going to make our station better, and our listeners in Southwest Louisiana are going to get great shows, local shows starting at 9 o'clock in the morning and all the way through 6 o'clock at night. And even though you may be based in Baton Rouge, you're part of the family. Yeah, and I think it's gone immensely well.
Well, man, turnout tonight is all, and we're going to be here till 8 o'clock. So
yeah, just to let you know, these people are not here for me. You know, the big, bald, and beautiful one, they don't come out for me.
Hey, but I think they're here for the food and the open bar.
Yeah, they're here for the free food, the open bar, and then, you know, the man who has won so many LAB awards, he had to add an addition to his house. That's who they're here for. I'm just here to make sure the power's on. Right? That's all it is.
RP3, D-Lo, and Mesh. It's weekdays 11 to 1. Y'all set a button in your car. 103.7 FM in Lafayette, 104.1 FM in Lake Charles. Basically, we're down to 20 seconds. But if you're on I-10, man, when you're going west, when you start to lose 103.7, you pick up 104.1.
That's correct. You can just switch over, and then when you get to about Jennings, you switch over to 104.1. You can hear us all the way into Texas.
RP3, I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, bud.
We'll see y'all tomorrow.
AFR.
All right, as we get on down the road, got to remind you about our friends over at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. They do it all at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. You'll talk about a company that'll go anywhere. I mean, Brandon Holly and the gang, I mean, they'll go west into Texas. They've done so much work in Beaumont. They've done work. They've done apartment complexes in Atlanta, Tallahassee, up in Memphis as well. So if you want energy-efficient replacement windows, my goodness, and we're talking about right now, with triple-digit temps and rising energy bills, how do you check that? Install energy-efficient replacement windows, and Relief Windows will do it best. They'll measure twice to install once. It'll lower your energy bills, making your home more energy efficient, and it'll increase your home's resale value. Relief Windows does it all. If it's energy-efficient replacement windows, entry doors that will not chip, crack, peel with time, or hardy plank and vinyl siding, it's Relief Windows. And ReliefWindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like Hudco, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.